Hello, everybody. I figure let's have some fun with it. It's Thursday. I used to do a tarot show every Thursday, actually. Hanging out, pulling cards for whoever wanted one, and it was generally a really good time overall. And so, I figured we'll bring this back, starting on TikTok today, and then meandering over to Twitch, Facebook, and wherever else I decide to go. So, without any further ado, let's get a first card on the screen for everybody. First card coming up today is going to be Nine of Swords, Nine of Air specifically. This deck doesn't use suits like you would see in other tarot decks. Let's get it on screen for you guys here. Where's that flip? Where's that flip? I need to flip. Oops. All right. So what you see here with this one, with the Nine of Swords, we're typically dealing with strong thoughts and ideas and things that are affecting us in sort of a heavy phrased way. However, the Nine of Air adapts it to looking at instead being the pinnacle point before you move over to new understanding and new comprehension. We have this individual with a blossoming flower at the throat, sort of indicating an opening of communication, awareness, understanding, and an ability to express these ideas in a broader way. You'll also notice the fingers are reaching around it to bolster it up, give it a bit more of a lift, a bit more of an empowerment, moving it more towards its full potential. See, with all of the cards, you're working a little bit with numerology, the ace being the starting point, the 10 being the complete point. In numerology, whenever you get double digits, you tend to size them down to a single digit. So 10 is 1 plus 0, equaling only 1. 11 is 2, and so on and so forth. So 9 being the step before you get that full completion is quite often an indicator that you're about to make that final step, that final transference out of the thoughts and ideas that have been holding you back and into the thoughts and the ideas that are going to move you forward for the longer term. You'll notice too the web of energy moving out from the person's head, especially their third eye, indicating that they're connecting now to a larger network, a larger broad system that will allow them to see things and expand things in a greater way for themselves. So generally, this is a great card for everybody to pick up on, simply because it gives us that idea that we're about to step forward into better understanding. And this is all that we could ask for in day-to-day life, to always be learning, growing, and advancing up to that next evolution. More on top of that, it's also the ability to communicate these ideas more openly, freely, to feel like you're actually a part of the conversation, not just a witness on the sidelines, an observer to everything as it passes you by. So this is the starting tone that we get to hang out with today, and if anybody does want a card, it is free cards today because it's Tarot Thursday. I want to make sure that everybody always has access to advice and information whenever possible. If you would like a card, just give me permission in the comments and I'll be more than happy to draw one for you. It's just about opening up your mind to the possibilities of what could be out there. Hi, Luminous Nebula. I will absolutely draw you a card. Let's get this one off the screen here and get you your card drawn. A quick shuffle, a cut, thinking about Luminous here. And what do we get? I like this one. We're still sticking with the 9s, it seems. Another really good sign of progression and development, moving into the next and final steps to evolve yourself forward to the next level. Again, we're also seeing that sign of the third eye being empowered, wide open and aware. But with the earth energy on this particular card, it's less about the radiance outward, and it's more about the comfort and security with it. Earth energy is very grounded, very centered, and very balanced with itself. And so when we're working with psychic gift or intuitive understanding from that perspective, it's not about the elaborate and complex being woven out into fractals and all that chaos. It's more about the applied natural state, the growing of trees so that they can offer us fruits, the potential of seeing good health and good balance come through personal understanding, and those other forms of keeping the energy not elaborate outside of you, but content within you. Hi, Jenna Joyce, I got your request there. I'll absolutely draw you a card when I'm done with Luminous here. And hi, 2020. Good to see that we got clear sight in the view. I'll get you one afterwards as well. So we have 3 people right now on deck. Now, back to you, Luminous. What you're seeing here is either you looking to offer something towards another or needing to be in that way of receiving, but it cannot be anything that's going to unsettle your natural balance. This has to be something of sustenance, something of encouragement, something of refinement so that you can feel deep roots going into yourself, establishing a firm, strong foundation. As you're exchanging this energy in this form, it helps you to realize that you are ready for that next step of yourself. And so this is a period of transition that you're going to be pushing yourself forward through, for better or for worse. Transition is a painful thing. You're pushing out of the shell that you're currently in and into the next level, taking what you have right now and saying it's ready to grow and expand. And so it's allowing you that freedom to really stretch yourself out and build yourself up to that next evolutionary state. Notice the gentleness that's supposed to come through with this card. Nothing should be forced in this dynamic. If the energy is coming from somebody that's being very demanding, this isn't the right energy form. It has to be something that feels gentle, like a soft breeze or summer sunshine. Those things that allow you to have an all-around better vibration of comfort and solace, happiness and peacefulness within your own soul. You got a good energy there. Just make sure that as you're applying yourself into it, you're being really discerning about who is giving you that cup and who you're offering your cup to. If they're not, there's a saying actually about love, and if it's really exciting and really rushed and really up in the energy levels, that's not really love, that's usually passion or lust. If it's calming, if it makes you feel secure, if it makes you feel that you are respected and honored and dignified in that moment, that is the right direction for this energy to push towards. And so no sharing the cup with anybody that's going to use your energy for their own advantage. It has to be about what's going to provide you the peace and comfort that you physically deserve at this time. Peaceful things, gentle things, and no rushing yourself with this one, Luminous. When embracing earth energy, the earth moves quite slowly, so it absorbs in over a long period of time. It may be that you take the drink from the cup now and then realize the full realization of it when you come to the end of the summertime. Love it. I'm glad it works for you, Luminous. I hope you have a most fantastic May 2nd. I can't say the name properly, so I just say May Day, but it is that cross-quarter point where we start moving really deep into spring energy. Let yourself have some fun with that, especially as a Capricorn. You've got better footing than most of us. You'll do great with it. Love it. Oh, I do love Taurus energy. Big mountains, strong mountains, lots of resources there. Jenna Joyce, I've got you next up on my list, so let's get you a card here. And then 2020 will be our third on deck. Jenna, what do I have for Jenna? Jenna, you're coming up with what this deck uses for a Fool card. This deck redefines a lot of the major arcana, adds a few more too. It's a little bit of an interesting setup. And the Fool card in the Rider-Waite is all about new adventures, new starts, and new beginnings. This deck redefines it as the power of choice. Choice is a very powerful spark that initializes entire stories and fables and actions of lesson, development, and growth. But unless we actually choose that beginning, unless we engage with ourselves, it's really, really hard to actually realize what those next options could be. You'll notice the different number of portals underneath the faces in the tree, representing all the different potential realities that one could put themselves into that one could direct themselves to before realizing the fullest potential of themselves. Sorry, DH, I missed that question there. I'll get you added onto the list after 2020. Back to you, Jenna. There's so many symbolisms in here. I'm having a good time kind of prying it through because you'll notice the fire energy in the top right, the air energy on the left, the water energy moving throughout. I have to say, it really does require you to look at all the potential options and not get fixated too much on any one direction or any one course. Sometimes when we do get swept up into the idea that there's only one way that things can be, we start to panic, and we start to stress, and we feel like we've lost that idea of direction and course. Going back to the idea of loss, having lost a grandma, it takes away from you that idea of that person being your guide or your course of action. But truthfully, it doesn't have to be that way unless you allow it to be that choice from you. I have a weird vibe when it comes to death and passing, and I love to get deep into it, but today's not the day. What I will sum it up as is nobody is truly ever lost. What they've given us in their experiences and their energy allows them instead to live within us. And the Egyptians used to call this second death, the death when everybody forgets you. And so long as you live, your grandma's never going to face that second death. She's going to continue having influence and effect upon the world through you until you have carried on. And you in your life will pass your knowledge on to next generations as well too. So the trick here, Jenna, is just to make sure that you're always making the choice to make the energy a living thing. Choose what she would choose, and you are emitting her through everything that you've got going on there, respecting her legacy and respecting her belief in you as well too. I am so very sorry for your loss, and sleep well the peaceful dead, but trust that they are never far from you, and they will be involved in every choice that you make for the rest of your life now. Every decision that you make will be painted by their influence on you. And if you allow that, not with grief, but with appreciation that you had the time, it helps you to realize just how powerful their every lesson for you really was. It's grief takes time, and no one can rush you on it. No one can push you on it. Go through the process at your own pace, Jenna, and just make sure that you're allowing it to move through you, not get stuck with you. The big thing about choices is we always do have to make a choice, take an action and take emotion. So make sure that you're not holding yourself back and preventing that option. Very good luck, Jenna, on that one. It's a big transition, but I'm sure that you'll make it through. So 2020 is going to be up next, and then we have DH, Nick. Hi, Nick. Funny story, my name's Nick. It's always nice to meet another Nick. Good luck, Nick. I'll get you on the list here as well, too. Hannah, I've got you on third right now. Yeah, don't hold back on this, Jenna. You have to allow the energy to come out. Grief has to be allowed to express. And it's a painful thing for a lot of us, but it's one of those simple realities. We all will eventually face that specter of death, and we just have to be willing to take it on gracefully, ultimately. 2020, we need a card for the user 2020, not the year 2020, because that was enough craziness as it is. 2020, what do we got for you? 2020 coming up with the Ace of Fire, the One of Fire, talking about initialization, starts, passion, increasing passion over everything. The beauty of this one is it's all about the full power of your will coming to full light. And I really love the idea of the spider being in the center of all this. The spider creates an ornate self-expression in its web that it then uses to help capture food, raise children, and really just live its best life. And so I think when we see this one come up, we want to make sure that we're looking at how our gifts and our energies can really blossom out to create a web of our own potential, a web of our own design. Willpower is very personal, and quite often we get into the ways of sharing our will and giving our will over to others. In this particular case, you might want to look very closely at who is trying to influence your choices, your decisions, your personal fire, and really decide if they have your best interests at heart, or if what they're trying to do is put you into a cage as well too, keeping you from reaching your fullest potential. It's not about burning them away. Not necessarily. Sometimes it's nice to use a harsh word to chase off bad people. But more than that, it's just about understanding that you don't have to surrender your will to anybody else. Your will is yours to use, and you can express it in whatever passion, in whatever way, in whatever format that you want. So, like the deep spirit, take control of what you are, your potential, your form, all of your energies, and provide outward what you want to express, what you want to be. Be your best, most truthful, most honest self so that you can display something beautiful for everybody. Not everyone's going to like it. And sometimes you'll find that people get stuck into the energy and into the form, but that's just the nature of the world. Sometimes we get stuck in other people's webs and we have to find a way to extrapolate ourselves. When they are stuck in your flow and your energy, you don't want to be mean, you don't want to be cruel. You want to use and spend that time appropriately. And then if they are good food for you, enjoy. If they're not good food for you, you don't waste your time. You just carry on to the next moment of passion and personal self-expression. As long as you make sure that it's in your control, that it's in your power, that it's in your format, you'll do fine. Do not surrender your will to anybody else. Your life is for you. Your living is for you. Your experience and perspective is for you. And as long as you're respecting that it's you that is the most important person in your life, no one else will ever be able to take away your fullest potential from you. I especially love the eyes on this dragon. They're very, very firm, very strong, they're right there piercing through everything in front of it. Look and see truth in everything in front of you. You have a good spirit of discernment, and your light will make anything else brighter. And so you can then look upon it and see it for what it truly is. The power is within you, 2020, and you just got to have that full clarity of vision in order to make it work through properly. I love this card for the underlying power on it. It's so much light, it's so much energy, it's so much form, but it's not overpowering. It's just radiant. It's just there. And sometimes when people see powerful things, they reach out too quickly and get burned. It's like grabbing a rose off the bush too fast. You get a nice big thorn right up your hand. It happens. So when people do reach onto you, just remember, they thought they could grab the sun, and instead they just get burned. And that's not for you to be upset about. It's just a result of being your best self. Thanks for letting me read you, 2020. DH, I've got you up next, and then Nicholas will get you in there as well. Hannah, I see you on there, and I believe I saw another one from Orion. Hi, Ryan. DH, so this is a quick one because will DW end it with a third party early in May? I hate direct questions for one reason, because everybody's life is their own personal choice, and I can't speak over somebody else's free will and override their free will. It's not the right way to work. So let's look at this energy and see what comes out of it. I have a bursting deck is what's coming out of it. That's never a fun sign. Lots of intensity on this one. Let's try again. DH wants to know, will DW end it with a third party early May? The Queen of Earth. That's, My immediate answer is probably not. When I see the Queen of Earth come up, I see someone that's not moving through fast motion, or worse yet, somebody that sees another individual as something of necessity or requirement. There's a nurturing that's occurring there, and typically people don't walk away from nurturing experiences very quickly. So do I think that it will end in early May? Probably not. My vibe tells me that there's something with this third party that they intrinsically need. And they cannot speak honestly about this need to you for whatever reason. If you can coax it out of them and provide them the safe space to express it, it is going to be very emotionally jarring or difficult for you, but at least then you guys are working with the truth of the matter, getting down to the very bull nature of what's happening, rather than being stuck in the indiscretions or secrets or insecurities that sometimes come up around people working outside of the usual realm. It's not going to be necessarily an easy opportunity for them to break away from. Whatever's holding them to it is very deeply attached. And so if you seek a way to force them out of it, it ends up doing a tearing upon their perspective. And that just ends up leaving them in a worse state than they were before. And that damage will probably never be reconciled directly. It would have to require space and time apart in order to heal fully. So it's probably not going to work on the timetable that you want. Now, underneath all of this, there is another reality when we're dealing with other people's relationships. We cannot tell people that they must only be with certain people, but we can tell people that if we are going to be committed to them, we have certain expectations from them. Then it's not saying, I demand you to be this. It's saying, to respect me, you have to behave thusly. And if they respect you, they'll meet that. If they don't respect you, they'll lie about it, and then they'll game around you and just make it a big manipulation. If that's what's going on, don't play the game. Don't play with somebody else's nonsense and try to make truth out of it. At the end of the day, you got to be true to yourself first and foremost. You got to put yourself as the priority. And if they're not going to work for your well-being, then why would you invest backwards into theirs? Sometimes you got to get the bigger picture to understand why they're doing what they're doing. Sometimes the bigger picture doesn't matter because what they're doing is just simply not appropriate to you. And if it's not appropriate, Separate yourself from the situation so that you don't have to compromise yourself and be less than you know that you are. Never diminish your value for somebody else's stupidity. There's lots of stupid people in the world. All of us will do stupid things at some point or another. Never let your value be diminished by somebody else's errors, mistakes, or limited perspective. Nick, let's get you up next. The truck from Shelby. Let's take a look. I love trucks. Honestly, I used to drive nothing but cars, and I got myself this Santa Cruz right now, and it's kind of a truck. It's like an El Camino on steroids. It's great. It's great. What we've got here is the knowledge card. Now, the knowledge card in this deck is centering around applying one's understanding of what they can and cannot do. There is something in this process where you're trying to push it through on a certain timetable, much like we were seeing with the last reader. But in this case, you've got more ways to make it work in a way that they're amicable with. So soon is the trick question. Do you need to pay the entire amount soon? Or do you need to pay the first installment soon? And when you start approaching them in that direction, this is what I'm bringing in right now. This is what I'm generating. I can pay you this at this timetable and this at this timetable, and maybe lining it up in small chunks works more easily for them and for you. It sometimes requires having that good personal rapport, having that deep respect to work with the individual, but as long as you're willing to meet them at an equal level, you'll have no issues convincing them, because they'll see that you're trying to give them the best that you can, and in return, you're not asking for more than what you would already get. You're just asking for the time to accumulate what you need to provide it to them. So soon, tricky statement. I would say if you negotiate it appropriately, using best practices, then soon would probably be quite soon, like next month or two. But if they're not necessarily down with that, then I'm going to just run on it with a numbers perspective. 9 being either 9 weeks, 9 months, probably not 9 years, probably not 9 days either. So you got a little bit of work to do there either way. And as long as you're on top of it, communicating with them and just working in good unity with the Shelby, then there won't be any issues. They'll be able to work with you as well and try and find a way that it harmonizes around. Knowledge requires communication, clear, concise information, and a good working expression between the individual that is giving the knowledge and receiving the knowledge. So just make sure that communication is top bar, and that way you will more than likely get through without too many issues here. Good luck, Nick. Honestly, trust the luck. Nick's all have a weird sort of luck, and as long as you're trusting that luck and communicating and being honest and working towards your final goal here, then I believe this other person will work with you as well too. It doesn't feel like an oppositional energy. It feels like they'd much rather see you in the truck than not in the truck, which means they're somewhat in your corner for whatever reason that they have. Hannah, I think I've got you up next, and then it was Ryan. Yes, it was Ryan. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Pete. Thanks for coming on in. Mary, I got you on there as well, too. And so we got 3 more on the deck here, starting with, 4 on the deck. Hannah, let's get you up here next. Hannah. Energy card for Hannah, please. Hannah. Hannah, you're coming up with the 3 of Fire. I love 3 of Fire energy. It's long journeys, long transformations, changes and shifts, because you're taking yourself through a big journey and a big passage to something that will provide you the next best thing. So the specific question is, will you pass your board exam? Yes, I feel yes, you will probably do just fine. The question is, though, will you have to do follow-up of some sort? Something additional? If so, just be prepared for that, but don't see it as something that's working against you. Just see it as part of process. I know with some boards, there's a written exam followed by an interview or something else of a higher state. And so you just may need to be prepared for that next step of the journey as you're moving towards the next progression. This is a card in motion. It's a card in transit. And so you are absolutely moving on into something. And so, yes, I double down a little bit on that yes, you are probably seeing some amount of success from that exam last month. But what is or 2 months ago, sorry. But what is the next step in the process and make sure that you're on top of that as well too. If you have to reach out to communicate, make sure you're doing so periodically, just making sure they don't forget about you. If instead it's the interview process I'm thinking, then that's wonderful. Make sure you're ready to book it. And other than that, just be constantly seeing yourself moving forward to that final goal. In the worst case scenario, it might mean that there's something of a rewrite or something else that you have to do in more detail. But really, I don't see a backwards motion with this card ever. It's always progressing towards where you are meant to belong. So you're probably moving right along the right path without any issues. Like that card, honestly. If someone's going to be asking about whether they were successful or something, Hannah, this is the card I would honestly want to get for most. So I'm really happy to see this one pop up for you. It's empowerment. It's realizing that you have everything that you needed. It's all on that bag on the shoulder. You had everything you needed to get it done. And so I do believe that you've accomplished it. Let me know, actually. I would love to hear follow-up on this one. If you ever get the time, reach out to me. Let me know how it turns out. Part of the feedback process helps me to better understand cards for individuals. And so always love the feedback whenever you guys can. Ryan was asking me about getting a job in Bristol. Let's see Bristol. What's going on that way for Ryan? Cutting for Ryan. We got the 5 of Wands coming up. No, sorry, that's 5 of Stone. That's a different energy. Okay. Maybe. I don't like the 5 of Stones energy just because it brings up an element of manipulation and an element of control. Typically what we see in the Rider-Waite with it is somebody that's looking to work a system for themselves. You can get the shelter and safety, but it's going to cost you. And what it costs you is sometimes something more personal, more special. They rephrase it slightly in this one being a satire holding a playing cards. And so it's like playing with the spirits, playing with the devil to a certain extent. So I do believe that yes, there will be job opportunity in Bristol, but is this something that you really want to put yourself into? Is this an arena that you want to play in? Is this a job that you feel you can respect yourself if you're doing? Is this a healthy kind of employment or a healthy kind of positioning? What is the deeper reason behind you wanting to go there? And on top of that, what is their dynamic around that? Are they just using this job offer as a means of getting advantage over you or in other ways manipulating you? So be suspicious. There is something there for sure, but it may cost you something more than you're necessarily wanting to get involved with. And as long as you are aware of the price and aware of what's going on, then it's a conscious and honest choice from you. Do you really feel like you can play this creature's game? Or is this your opportunity to kind of get out of harm's way before it becomes too much too fast? Typically when this comes up, the person with the power tends to always have the control. And so you will never supersede them. You'll never get better than what they have. And so be mindful. That mindset of being the superior can sometimes make people manipulative, dominant, or other ways toxic. And so you'll want to make sure that you're not bargaining your soul away to something that's not going to be worth your time. It's all about playing the right game, right? It's all about playing for your benefit. Remember, life is about your perspective and your experience. So make sure that you're not letting somebody else steal that away from you. Bristol's, it's just that devil element of this one. Like those horns are thick, strong, prominent, and no, they can't gore you. They are turned back, but that doesn't mean blunt damage doesn't hurt. So just be careful. If they do start doing something that makes you suspicious of what their intentions are, that might be a good indicator to kind of step back a little bit and keep out of harm's way. Mary has herself on the docket here. I've got you coming up next, Mary. And then let's just take a look through. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining the show. Jillian, I'll get you on as well, too. Peace, love, strength. Tara. Hi, Tara. I'll get you in there. Margot and Jackal. And Erica. Okay, so we've got a few people here. Bear with me. I always want to make sure I give enough information and don't short anybody. So if you do feel like you want more details, by all means, shoot me a message after the fact. I do believe all readers should do follow-up at all times. And so if you get a card from me, follow-up is good for life. You can come hit me up any point about that card, and we'll be happy to get into the details around it. Mary, Will I be in a relationship soon? Let's find out. Mary's wanting to know about her love life, guys. What do we have for her? We've got the Eight of Swords coming up in this case. Okay. Is there a love potentially coming? I'm not... Yes. Soon? I'm not so sure. And is it somebody that you know? Potentially, and for possibly worse. The vibe overall that I get is that your past relationships have left you in a state where there is certain wounds, twitches, tics, things that just don't quite work the way that they did in the earlier days. And this is natural. All of us go through transformation in our heart, and we gain a little, we lose a little, and we redevelop ourselves around our connections. That's a natural order to relationships, 100%. But when we get to a point that we've been hurt in a certain way that we can't quite get over too quickly, it usually grows around, and then we have to absorb that wound back in. It becomes a long process of unlearning a response or a behavior so that we can engage with the new people on the level that we want to be. And so I do think that opportunities exist, and how you approach these opportunities will be key. Approaching them with an open mind, a healing heart, focused on finding good communication and understanding, and working so that you're in a relationship that's not trying to hurt you. Past relationships and people that you know treat you on a certain degree with their experiences that they already have. And so you get what you've already received. You just now also get an additional quality of intimacy and connection. If they're good to you as friends, then being intimate with them shouldn't be a problem. They should be healthy there too. But if they're kind of wishy-washy or inconsistent as friends, I wouldn't dive into a relationship with that. Typically, that's a sign that exactly what you're going to get after the fact. New relationships, however, completely fresh people, they will give you the most honest reflection of yourself. And sometimes you just got to work with that. As a thought, I was getting out of a relationship and was going through a bit of a toxic time. Went on a date with this gal, and I get home, and the first thing I did after bringing her to my house was just take this massive bong rip. And she lost her mind. She was so disgusted that I directly went to the weed and didn't think of anything else. And I realized after the fact how absolutely right she was. That was demonstrating a level of addiction that I didn't even realize that I had at that point in time. If she had not shown that offense, I never would have necessarily clued into it myself. Now, I'm glad that she was cruel to me because I don't respond quickly unless it is harsh. But with others, it can't be cruel. Sometimes you got to make sure that you're receiving the information gently enough that it doesn't hurt you, because then it usually just scares you off. So if they are coming at you with cruelty, force, or aggression, I would recommend that is a good time to pump the brakes, get yourself out of the car, and move on in another direction. If they're trying to be compassionate in their delivery, then recognize that compassion for what it is. True, genuine care that you get more ahead of yourself and out of any past wounds and past pains. Good luck, Mary. There's some healing there, but I have full faith that you'll be able to do it. Jillian, I've got you coming up next. Lots of new messages coming in. I will get down to you all in a little bit. Just bear with me as I go. Jillian, what do we got coming up for you? Jillian, coming up with the number 11 in this deck. It's called Healing. I like this one. I love this one. A lot of people, I feel when they see this card come up, they focus on what they're doing for personal healing. And I've never actually gotten that vibe from that. This card feels more like you understand the grander concept of how people work through their situations. It's not just healing. It's awareness. It's perspective. It's comprehension. And so what we're seeing here, Jillian, is that you're probably going to be dealing with some experiences over the next month where people are going to not be in their best state, and you're going to have to be the voice of reason that helps them to see something greater for it. It's putting you in a bit of a position because sometimes you have to give advice where you feel like you might not have justification to do so. But at the end of the day, all people should feel free to speak openly to others. It's through that honest communication that we can inspire greater change, transformation, and improvement in the souls of others. And so I would not recommend holding back on anything that you feel needs to be said. If something looks injured, go ahead and address it. If something appears wrong, speak the truth that you feel within yourself. If you have a way that you can improve and feed a person for the day, now's the time to absolutely do it. The kickback on it is usually minimal. I'll be honest, as healers, we don't often get a lot coming back to us for it, but it helps us to maintain a certain consistency in who we are as an individual. Healers naturally care. And that society that we live in tries to starve us from that caring and prevent us from doing good things with it. Don't deny yourself that right to do great and amazing things. The power is within you, and you just got to allow yourself to radiate it to its full potential. If you've never really delved into healing work from yourself to others, or never necessarily defined it that way, you've always been the good friend, but you never realized how much of an impact that it was having, now's the time to take credit for your good work. You are doing something well for others in day-to-day life. Be consistent and don't give that up. And when you have done as much as you can, go ahead and let them carry on from there. You don't have to stand by somebody's life forever in order to make it better. That's not what a healer does. You just have to be there in the moment to help them perceive the next potential and the next possibility. And that's why you being collected and well balanced with yourself helps them to get ahead. Dependency is not the point, and you shouldn't be allowing anyone to be dependent on your gift in this case. You have a gift, though. Don't be afraid to use it. It'll do amazing things for you in the world. Thank you so much for joining. Tara, I'm going to draw you up next. I've also got Margul, Jackal, Erica, Ori, Alina, Olivia, Joanna. Hi, everybody. Crazy Fresh Banana, love the name. We'll get you in there as well too. Mike. Oh, we've got a lot of people on the list, so I'm going to keep trying to do my best here. I know you can't all stick around and wait, but I will try my best to get to every single one of you. If you can't stick around, add me up and shoot me a message, and I'll, at the very least, draw you a card when I get into my evening parts tonight. I like to make sure that everybody gets a chance, so please, oh please, follow up with me if I don't get to you today. Now, back over this way, we're moving on to Tara. Tara, I see something here about long-term job. I also saw something else here about Adrian. Let's do, it is sort of a one-card kind of case, and I am sorry about that. Let's see what comes up from your energy directly, okay, Tara? The Hero. Okay, that's a neat one. So with the Adrian question, I'm just going to flat out say that probably, I feel if this card's coming up on that point, you're going to run into him again just because it's just a vibe. Just a vibe. Sometimes the main characters in our stories never get away. It just is what it is. As far as looking at it from a job perspective, well, potentially, but you have to shine in a certain way. Heroes at work are those that can do the job to a certain quality that others cannot. And the reason why we appreciate those heroes is because they are self-activated, self-driven, and we don't have to kind of chase after them on the element. And so if you're positioning yourself at work in a way that you're working with initiative, independence, but also in the contribution directly to the business, then you should be seeing yourself there for a longer period of time. Through your best behavior, you show and demonstrate your fullest character. And that's what this ultimately comes back to. You being your best and most fullest self. And as long as you are allowing that to shine through in the fullest form, Tara, then yeah, absolutely, you're going to achieve some absolutely great things at that business. But it's best character, right? The hero has to be able to take criticism. They have to realize that the criticism's coming from another's perspective, and that doesn't make it 100% valid. But if you're working for somebody else, their perspective, unfortunately, is the priority in maintaining that employment. And so make sure that you're being open-minded, make sure that you're being noble, true, committed, steadfast, a good, noble worker where possible. That, however, does not mean that you make yourself a slave to the job. Servitude is different than service, and make sure that you're giving yourself over in a way that is your service to them and not your enslavement to them. As long as you respect that in yourself, then you'll be able to manage good things and keep things in a good, positive way. Have fun with that one, Tara. I think you're going to do just fine. Just trust that you are trust that you have the best potential, and then be that best potential in everything that you're doing. You'll see yourself through without any issues. Margot, what's got for Margot? Margot, you're coming up with the King of Fire. The King of Fire to me is the most combative of all the kings. And with that energy, what we're seeing is someone that knows their power, knows their potential, knows their shape, and they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that they're shooting for it in the best way possible. It's recognizing that you have earned the right to stand on the stage and be this king and be this authority. And so you cannot let anything else undermine that quality of authority that you have. You have achieved this and rise into it in fullest form. You'll notice that the third eye itself has moved up into the flame wreath around the king's head. The realization that the spirit is not just the body, but the very expression of the person coming out from themselves. If you're honest and true with this expression, you will illuminate all problems around you, burn away all things that are impure and do not belong in that space, and move yourself through into your fullest, most almighty power. It's an amazing energy form, and it releases you to be your best and most powerful self, the lion spirit within the person in all ways. And so embrace, radiate, be your fullest power. This spring is supposed to be all about removing shackles and making ourselves bold, proud, and strong. Now is your time to do exactly that. Release yourself into your fullest and most powerful form and let the most amazing things come out of it as a result. Hi, Joanna. Thanks so much for the rose. Last thought for Margot. With that level of fire and intensity, you're always going to attract flies. You're always going to attract moths. You're always going to attract lesser thans. And that's just part of the natural order. Remember, they do not define you. Just because you attract things that are a little bit lesser than doesn't make you lesser than. It just simply makes it so that they are trying to understand what is greater. And if you are being true to yourself, they'll learn it through watching you. You won't have to do anything more than just be there. Hi, Erica. You're asking a question about Sydney. Let's take a look-see here. I always remind people, direct questions are always tricky because especially when it involves others, you're making a question around free will and the expression of it. This particular question is coming to us with an answer of perception. This is feeling a little bit on the darker, and I am sorry about that, Erica. The vibe I get is defined together. It feels almost as though somebody sure might be present physically, but may not be present emotionally. And so they do try to reconnect in some level, but is it the full picture and is it the full package? If it's not, then that's not really depth, that's not really honesty, and that's not really integrity. And so you got to be really careful that you're not getting yourself swept up into another person's energy when they're only giving you half the cup. When we're sharing intimately with others, relationships are very complicated, and we have to kind of understand what are we looking within this partnership and what do we want from it as boundaries and what is the norms of it. Every person's perception on that's different. I'll mention occasionally that I am polyamorous, dating a monogamous woman, and so therefore I'm monogamous right now. But my perception is based around polyamory. And so when I see people exploring love in a broader way, I understand it. I might not join in it, but I can at least understand it and perceive it. When I express this, I have to be honest with the others that are around me. If I'm approached by somebody that is of that lifestyle, I have to make sure that I'm giving them my full truth so their perception is real. Otherwise, I'm just being shisty. I'm being a hidden factor, and that's not appropriate in any dynamics. So unfortunately, I get a bit of a vibe that somebody is keeping something hidden. Somebody is keeping something secret, and you need to make sure that the perception is very open and broad so that you can catch up and understand why they're holding that particular secret from you. Be careful. And if they do get back together with you and they're not being their full, honest, and authentic self, I wouldn't stick around. It doesn't give me a sense that it's something that you can repair if they're not willing to be fully honest. Honesty keeps repeating very heavily too. So be careful with that one, Erica. If they haven't been giving you that honesty before, they're not going to give it to you now, is my long and short with it. Ori is asking, Ori was up next, right? Yeah. Okay, so I just heard an alarm beep, so I am going to keep going here, but I'm going to have to turn off that alarm. We've got lots of requests on the list right now, so let me see how much I can get through here. Ori, I'm going to draw you next. Let me just go turn off that alarm real quick. Perfect, so I'm going to do another 5 or 10, and then I gotta go change my laundry, but it just is what it is. Ori, what do we got for Ori? The question is my ex-boyfriend regretting breaking up with me? Yeah, I could get away with that one, I think. Breakups occurred, and this is a neat one. This is a neat one. Intuition coming up in a question like that. It's what are the gut vibes on it, truly? And one person believes that this should be a bonded and absolute thing. Another person might believe that this was a trap and this was a cage. And so I feel like there's a bit of a disparity between the two individuals involved here. Or you have one perspective and your ex-boyfriend has another perspective. Now, intuition at the core of it is simply our truth within a shared reality. One of you thinking that it was a destined thing is accurate. There's lessons there and things that have to be learned in the greater spectrum so that you understand your part in the universe a little bit more. The other person thinking that the relationship was a curse and needed to be escaped is also true from their perspective, from their understanding. And so, do I think he's regretting? Depends which one of the sides he scales he's on. If he thought it was a destined thing, then yes, he's regretting it. If he thought it was a curse, then no, he's not. Regardless, I think you guys were supposed to break up. Call it a gut instinct, but I think this was an experience that you guys were supposed to have so that both of you could learn something separate from the other. Sometimes when we're around particular people too much, it blinds our own understanding and our own comprehension. It limits us from being able to really see and perceive the broader reality of life. And so I just have this weird hunch on this one, Ori, that it was meant to fall apart. And with that, move forward in looking for what new things you can discover and heal from whatever has been left behind. Let it grow over a little bit. Let it grow through. And that way you can then find yourself in new ways and new understandings. If none of this matches your intuition though, I'm going to double down and say, trust your own gut instincts. With the card saying intuition while looking at you, sometimes I have to admit, it may not be my comprehension, because again, my perspective's different. It may literally be your specific comprehension that you're working with, Ori. So good luck with that. I do feel though, like it's okay to be broken up. It's okay to be on your own paths. You guys are going to do amazing things separately. Whatever happens with that will happen. Alina. Next three that I see here is Alina, Olivia, and a Joanna. I've got you guys here. Let's see what we got. Alina, did I miss my final exam that I had today and that I won't get a first class? Let's find out. What's Alina's situation? Help us out here, guys. I don't think you screwed it up. If the Destiny card is coming up, that usually means that the path that we're on is the right path. And so I don't think you've messed it up, and I don't think that you won't get a first class. There may be some questions, some inquisition, the need to build better gates and be able to go through the passage of it. Sometimes when that shows up, it's about retesting or reevaluation or just having an additional conversation. We saw this a little bit with somebody else earlier and trying to find out the right course of path, right? And typically that next stage development, somebody else has to open it up to you. If you did an exam, someone's going to grade it, evaluate it, and send it back to you. So there is that opening. So I wouldn't stress. I don't think you've messed up. I do think you're on the right path and on the right course. You look okay, Alina. That's an easy one. I got whatever it is. It sounds like you're moving into something that's going to be really big and very, very true to your character. Like it's destiny. It's where you belong. And a lot of us, we chase that almost our entire life without ever discovering it. So good on you, Alina. Definitely moving in the right direction and doing the right things. That is fantastic. Keep moving in that direction. And yeah, let me know. If I'm wrong about you having not messed it up, then let me know. Give me the feedback so I know for sure. I have no issues being told that I was wrong. All readers should understand that they won't be able to read everybody else. So you let me know. Olivia, how does Elle think of me? Olivia, how does Elle think of him? Eight of Stones. This could be a little bit intimidating for them. They may see you as something that is very deeply profound, mystical even, but almost much. It's kind of similar to the Green Man or Green Woman. It's that sense of being very connected to an environment or a form or an energy pattern. And this L, they recognize that energy pattern has power, but they don't understand it. They can't speak the language of it. And so for them, it's hard for them to get the deep resonance in themselves with it. And so I think they're a little bit perplexed, maybe overwhelmed, maybe having to deal with looking at things from new perspectives that they've never challenged themselves with before. So be gentle with them, be patient with them, be considerate. Earth energy is rooted in nurturing and slow motion, slow, careful development. So whatever you do, try not to put pressure on them to change or shift. It's like coaxing a wild animal out of a cave and into a safe place. It's going to take them a little bit of time to feel like they can do that they can step away from that painful area or that trap and actually go into a better place around you. If they have no interest in getting closer to you, you're overwhelming them. They have no way to reach your level, and they have no way to get to your depth. And that can sometimes be a blessing or a curse. I don't mind. I love people. I love all people. But I know that there is definitely a depth difference between me and some others. And if I can't get to my full spiritual depth, that's not bad, but I will never be fully satisfied in that connection. And so from my side of it, I have to realize that some things just don't belong. And same applies for you, Olivia. Some things just will never match your depth, your intensity, and your flow. And you have to be willing to accept that when it happens. Joanna, my new boyfriend has disappeared. Will he reappear? I always get worried when I hear about people disappearing. Because you never know. Are they abducted? Are they ghosting? Are they just a schmuck? You never know. Let's see what we got here, Joanna. The King of Fire's coming back around. I have a weird feeling on this one that Joanna, it's a no. I don't think this boyfriend sees you as something that he will accommodate. I think that he sees you either as a challenge to him, his position, his authority, or something else there that he feels he deserves more. So I think he's trying his hardest to fully disappear. Now, bright lights attract attention. So I feel like a chance encounter or a crossing of paths is possible. But when you meet them, you're realizing that they are trying to be aggressively authoritarian. They're trying to be the person in charge. You say, you disappeared. And you're like, no, I had to go take care of things. I had to go do my thing. Why would you think I disappeared? I'm important. And that's the disrespect. They make their value greater than yours. And so they can do things like this, just walking off and going their own way. So it's a huge red flag that kind of sneaks in with this one. Be really, really careful, Joanna. If he's disappeared on you once and he comes back around, I feel like he will absolutely do a disappear again. So be really, really careful with that energy. Don't let yourself get sucked into something toxic or something negative. So sorry. So sorry. But this one feels, Joanna, like you're going to have to be really careful. Don't let anyone manipulate you. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. Don't ever let anyone abuse your heart. If they are not going to be committed and sincere, their energy is not worth playing with. So I've got 26 new messages at the bottom. I'm just kind of sneaking my way through. If you have put in a request and you can wait, that's great. If you can't, shoot me a message and I'll get you a card after the fact. And yeah, let's keep trucking at this. Crazy Fresh Banana. I like that. Crazy Fresh Banana. What do we got for you? What do you got for Crazy Fresh Banana? Let's get off these Kings of Fire. If I have to skip the card, I will. because too much of the same thing is a little bit chancy. What do we got for Crazy Fresh Banana? Okay, so we've got you coming up with the Death and Rebirth card. I have a theory. In that theory, it goes, we as a living being die in our perspective every day and are reborn to a new form every day. That is, who you are is sort of an extrapolation of what you believe in, what you've experienced, and what you understand. And so when new experiences change or adapt how you're thinking and how you're responding, then you become a new person in that moment. It's a little bit floofy in a way, but at the core of it, it's recognizing that we're constantly growing, evolving, and advancing into a new stage of evolution of ourselves. So Crazy Fresh, I think you are going through that shift and that transformation. The pros of it, whatever you become on the opposite side, is always a fuller picture of yourself. The downside is you have to let go of something from the past. Something has to be given up so that something new can take its place. Give up the things that don't serve you. Give up the things that don't belong. Now, what doesn't serve you is different from person to person. Some of us really enjoy driving really fast and diving out of planes and going parasailing. For the thrill and the adrenaline, that's the lifestyle. But I met a guy this year at Shambhala, and he'd mentioned that all of that time he was pushing for another adrenaline rush and getting to the point that he wasn't doing safety checks. He realized that he was chasing after something that wasn't the adrenaline. And so he let go of the idea of adrenaline being the pursuit and looked for what else it might be. And it ultimately came down to passion for life. He wanted to feel alive, but he was doing it by making himself feel in danger. And just had to redirect that energy into a new perspective and a new format. This is a very broad example, really. It could be right down to what a person is doing for work, what they're doing for spirituality or faith, what they're doing for their own personal diet and feeding their stomach. There's a lot of different areas that we can change and transform. So just take a look and see where you're feeling the most challenged right now. And I imagine you'll get a sense of what you should be pushing yourself into evolution for next. The answer is always in, where are you uncomfortable? Discomfort, being uncomfortable in a spot, pushes you to grow out of that spot. So wherever you're most uncomfortable is where you want to put that focus of transformation and allow a whole new you to kind of come through the process. This is my favorite energy form. I love anything that centers around that rebirth cycle. We're all just caterpillars eating away on our trees until we're so fat we turn into butterflies. And I love that idea. Getting so fat on an idea that you start to be able to fly with it. That is human superpower. And that's the way we want to see that energy flow. Okay. Let's, Michaela, I believe is the full name. Let's get a card for you next. Just hammering my way through the list. I'll keep at it as long as I can. McKay, you're coming up with the Counselor. This is one of the major arcana cards in this deck, one of their retooled major arcana cards. Normally number 12 is the Hanged Man, and the process of it is discussion around being locked or trapped in a moment and not being able to necessarily advance yourself. In the case of a counselor, a lot of people think that counselors and therapists tell you what to do, and that's not the case. They tell you your thoughts and rephrase them and rehash them and redevelop them so that you can share them back to the other person and from another perspective. It's like having an opposable thumb, but in your mind. You take an object and you turn it around and you look at it from multiple different angles. This is probably a gift that you have. Something that you can do with others and friends, and you provide good counsel and direction with it. But in being that counselor, in being that caretaker, there comes a point where what are you doing to make sure that you yourself are being caretaken as well? Don't give yourself over to everybody else. Leave a little bit of your energy for you, and make sure that you're creating this as a symbiotic energy, not just a constant one-way street for others. That way you will never degrade in your quality. You'll never feel robbed from, you'll never feel diminished, you'll never feel taken advantage of. And that's the sneaky trick here. Counselors, therapists, they all eventually get to a point where they feel like their efforts are fruitless. And that's just the reality of life. We can give people advice and new perspectives, but it's ultimately up to them to express their free will however they want. It is for that reason that this card comes up under the cups, under the water energy, because the service is emotionally driven. It's not willpower driven. It's not about dominance over their life. It's about helping them to feel connected. Water bonds instantly with all things around it. And so as long as you're maintaining that ability to bond and flow with all your friends and those that are around you, you will absolutely express this energy purely and be able to maintain great things for yourself going forward. I like that energy, McKay. That is a fantastic energy. Love that flow. Pearls, crystals 3. Let's get you in here next. What a love life looking. Let's see. Let's do some love life for pearls, crystals. Give me a better. Okay, I can work with that one better. 3 of Cups coming up for you. The other one was a Swords card. It was one that I'd done earlier, and I'm trying not to do any repeats if I can help it, just in case. With this particular flow, with 3 of Cups, it's unfortunately a little bit more solitary, but it's comfort in that solitary. It's feeling fully okay being your own self, independent of others. And if somebody else is going to come in, they have to come in at your level. They have to come in matching your energy, matching your commitment, matching your form, matching your capacity. If they can match you, then sure, why not? Let's give it a shot. But if they're not reaching your full potential, then really what's the point? Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have good flings or good times or good energies in and throughout. What it's really trying to get to is saying, if you are going to go out there, don't lessen what you have and make it about somebody else's comfort. Make sure that you're maintaining your integrity and your form in all things. You've got a very, very deep cup, I feel. You've got a lot of love to give, and that's beautiful. But we really don't want anyone to take advantage of that. We really don't want anyone to use your full capacity against you. There's nothing worse than being robbed of a heart. And so if that's happened in past, that would explain the defensive nature now and the need for independence. Making sure that nobody has that authority over top of you. They can bond with you so long as they meet you at your level. That is my long and the short of it with that one. It's going to be a lot of wild relationships this summer, guys. A lot of chance encounters. You're going to hear people throwing out words like twin flame and soulmates. Be careful with those. I do believe that there is some level of soul connection between people. So soulmates I'll get behind. But twin flames can be an obsessive compulsion towards one perfect partner. There is no one perfect partner in most cases. There's multiple opportunities to learn and grow and develop. And so if you are meeting someone that you feel that intensity with, don't make them the be-all and end-all of your experience of life. They're a great teacher in that moment. They'll bring a lot of good things into your life, but don't let them become an obsession, whatever you do. Good luck with that one, Pearls. Urona. Let's get you one here as well. Urona. Urona. Getting a little bit of a jump there. One more cut. Let's go. One more shuffle, one more cut. Urona. There. Urona, you're coming up with the emotions card. I love the way that they change the scales on this one. They've got the sword, and on the one side it's holding one weight, on the other side it's holding another weight, and the person trying to keep the balance in between, right? What I usually see with this is the need to use our thoughts to measure our emotions. Emotions are beautiful. Emotions are incredibly powerful, though. And when they become so powerful that they override our decision process, we start to run into a dangerous situation. We're no longer acting based on our best wisdom, but we're now acting based on our impulses. Impulse living is living fast, dying young, and unfortunately leading to a very quick recycling back into the universe. The point is not to just take everything and run. The point is to take everything and grow. And so the emotions need to be worked into this process. Instead of being nitroglycerin into your engine, it needs to be more like the car wash water working through you and around you to take away the grime. It needs to be what helps you to release, not what's going to help you to propel. Passion does matter, sure, but if you're using it as a weapon and always trying to strike forward with it, at some point it becomes only about the feelings and not really about the substance or the structure underneath it. So I got a sense that at least for the next couple months, you're looking at a bit of an emotional roller coaster. Lots of things that are going to challenge your ability to keep grounded, centered, and well balanced. This happens periodically throughout all lifetimes. And as long as you're doing what you can, not to work against it, but to work it through yourself, through your ideas, through your logic, through your mind, and not just sitting with it in your heart, then your soul can start finding a better way to make it accommodate for you. Some emotions can be really tough for some people. And when they're facing them, they feel like they're powerless. And do not allow yourself to succumb to that powerless nature. Emotions are powerful, but the soul is more powerful. And the soul can dictate for both the heart and the mind what the balance is going to be. You simply have to allow yourself to sit and be still with the emotions and allow yourself to I was going to say engulf. I don't think engulf is going to be quite right. Allow yourself to immerse and be floating within your emotional self and not just floating in somebody else's emotions for you. I'm so sorry. I just feel like it's going to be a tough month or two. But once you're through that, once you're past that point, Yorona, I think you're going to be able to get yourself into far greater spirits and far greater opportunities. You just have to allow yourself to get through that first emotional barrier and allow yourself to see them not as punishment, but see them as reflection of language. Our emotions come from our experiences. It's the language of our perspective trying to understand what's just happened. And so allow it to speak, allow it to express, and let good things come out on the other way. Hi, Ashley. Ashley's got a question about the ex-boyfriend. Let's take a look-see here. I like this question better than a lot of others because you're asking about his well-being. You're asking about reconnecting with him. I like this question better than others. Let's see what we got for you, Ashley. I'm so sorry. Depression is a nasty, nasty bug. If you or anyone you know is dealing with depression, make sure that they are doing it with community, not alone. And make sure it's kind of like treating them like Eeyore. They can't be removed from the social circle. They have to be always included and welcomed where possible. Unfortunately, I don't think he's able to get enough clarity and perspective on the situation and himself. The depression is being blamed on outside factors, not things that he can control. And so it becomes a perpetual trap. It becomes constantly a barrier to his best well-being. And so at this point in time, the ex-boyfriend is choosing despair over hope. When he gets past that point, there is always a chance that something will come back. But 9 times out of 10, depression changes us permanently. Who we are after is not who we were before. And that's just a reality of life. We're all changing, evolving, and growing every day. And if you can respect that change, then coming back isn't impossible. But if you're looking for the same person that he was before, I don't feel a hope towards that. And I am so sorry about that, Ashley. Everybody's wearing masks in day-to-day life. When we start realizing this, we can start working with a truer version of ourselves getting underneath those masks. I don't think the ex-boyfriend's ready for that translation. I don't think he's ready to get into seeing himself fully. And that's the unfortunate business of it. If he cannot see himself fully, then there's not going to be ever a change, unfortunately. If you know a family member, I would recommend asking them to just keep an eye on him and then give yourself some space from it. I feel like that one's going to turn really, really rough. And so just make sure that you are prepared for them to not ever get back to their best self. Sorry, Ashley. Jared asking about Brazil. Jared asking about Brazil. What do we got about Brazil for Jared? Not easily, but you can do it. With the Nine of Wands here, it's specifically about pushing your full potential so that you can achieve the things right. It's about taking the magic and making it your own and expressing it your own way. No one is going to necessarily open the door for you, Jared, but if you apply and push and insist and keep looking for different ways to position yourself there appropriately, then yes, you will get into that level. But it's not an outside force. It's your force. It's your expression. It's your development. So I take the power into your own hands, do it your own way, do it your own style. I'm having weird vibes on whether this is a positive move or a negative move, and so I really don't want to dive in on that topic. But if you do move, if you do go to Brazil, it's because that you chose and made it happen and made it move and made it do. It's you'll notice the second ball of light just sort of below the navel there, getting down towards the sacral chakra, one's full expression and capacity and their creative expression. This may be something that requires a little bit of fancy thought or fancy activity. And if you're trying to just look for an easy direct path that doesn't exist, it comes from that ingenious ingenuity, that random creativeness that sometimes helps us to propel ourselves in very rapid ways. So possible, but it all comes through you, Jared. There is no helping hand on this one, unfortunately. Good luck. Send me a postcard. I've always wanted to visit South America, but I haven't made my way down just yet. But Brazil's got some interesting culture, some incredible mysticism behind it. Good luck with that one. Laura is asking if she's going to become pregnant this year. Let's take a look-see. And of course, if you are putting in a request for card, I will absolutely get to your request at some point. If I miss your request, then please shoot me a message and let me know, and I will happily take care of that at a point this evening. And at some point here, I have to go move my laundry over, so I will be running out for a quick minute in about 10 minutes, but we got some time right now. Laura, will you become pregnant this year? Maybe. I want a better confirmation card on that one. It was the counselor. It's water energy. Not with ease. Not with ease. Not with ease. The first card that came up was the counselor. We were talking about that earlier, about being sort of a facilitator of things. The second card to come up is the crone. The crone typically is post-child rearing. It's the mother after being the mother. Maiden, mother, crone being sort of the three levels here. When this comes up in a question around pregnancy, my concern is one of two. On one side, there's a question about the biological capacity. Is there something that is impeding, blocking, or preventing? And if so, what is the workaround? What is the means to make it work better? And sometimes it's very severe, like something within one's own biology. Sometimes it's less severe. Smoking isn't good if you're trying to get pregnant. Things like that, right? And so look at all the variables that are at hand and make sure you understand the full picture for what it is. The other side of it that sometimes comes up, it's not so much about the capacity, it's about the timing. If you haven't had any children yet, then the timing isn't now. If you have had children already, the timing is about them, not another child. And so make sure that you're really, really looking at that big picture as well too. Are we ready for this moment, or is there other developments that I have to do first? I've met a few that have ended up going from maiden straight up to crone and trying to develop the mysticism and the spiritual understanding, and then come back from crone to enter into motherhood. And with them, it was all about making sure that they felt personally right about themselves before bringing another life form into the world. If there is misgivings that you have based around that, then please, oh please, oh please, be careful and don't throw yourself into something that you're not ready for. Make sure that you're receiving your full power and your full potential first. The crone is within her spiritual gift. Make sure you're developing that full capacity of yourself first and foremost. Good luck, Laura. All right, so I'm just going to take a peek here. I've got 64 messages. Aaliyah, Chanel, I will absolutely get to you guys here. Cece's asking too. Joanna Flood, I see you there as well. Valeria, love it. I will get you guys in here in just a second. There is a lot of messages. I will get to all of them at some point or another. Just bear with me as we kind of prop our way through. Aaliyah, let's get you on here. I used to be able to do like a quick card in like 30 seconds. I don't want to get back to doing it that fast. If it does hit 100, I might do that. But if you want more details, always reach out. Always reach out. At the end of the day, if you reach me on a Thursday, it's about teaching. It's about development. So don't stress about reaching out. I'm here for it. 100%. Thursdays especially. Aaliyah, what do we got for you? Asking about an apartment. I initially feel really glad that you waited until after. I'm going to say yes. I'm glad that you waited until after Mercury retrograde was through. The first card that came up was the Hero, but I've already had that come up, so I went for a confirmation card. And what do you know? The confirmation card, the Hero card, kind of looks similar. And so my gut instinct on it is yes, probably. The key definers for me would be, is this your own apartment? Is it space that is your own? If so, that matches in with the Queen authority and the Hero authority, and so it works well for that dynamic. There is also a sense that wherever you go, you've kind of got a good luck of things, and so don't stress too much. It is probably okay wherever you wind up as well. The things that you're needing will follow with you wherever you go. But I just get a vibe that, yeah, it's all right to take this one. You're okay to dive in on that apartment and see what it does for you in the long run. Gut instinct is just all around a good yes. Good luck, Aaliyah. I've got Chanel, and Joanna Flood. I've got as the next requests on screen, and then I'll get on to all the new requests that are coming in as best as I can. Chanel, thank you so much for the gifts, guys. Really, really appreciate the roses. Chanel, what card for Chanel? Chanel, you're coming up with the Earth card. Earth is a beautiful body form. It is a place of crossroads where all souls can come through, develop, explore, and become greater than they are, and then carry back into the ebb and flow of the universe. It is home. It is a passage. It is a place that all things can find their great power within. So I think right now you're going through a bit of a blossoming period in yourself. New understandings, new perspectives. Maybe it's getting into the 20s and realizing the greater scale of the world. Maybe it's 30s and realizing your own greater scale and power. There's lots of periods that we always hit where we go through that next evolution of ourselves. And it seems like as you step into this, you realize that you have so much abundance to give and so much abundance to share. There's some good to that and there's some bad to that. There's some people out there that absolutely are great with the natural environment. And then there's a lot of industrialists. And so you want to make sure that you are being very discerning and very careful who you share your energy with and who you share your flow with. If you're giving yourself over to people that are taking advantage of you, Chanel, it's not going to work in the long term, and you have to separate from that energy. You cannot give the earth to people that will not respect it. Ultimately, the power of the earth will outlast anyone that tries to manipulate it. And so it leans up to a possibility that you're going to have a certain effect on others that's very long lasting and very, very impactful. So make sure that you're respecting that presence that you have in everybody else's life. The impact of change and transformation that you're going to do to them is going to be very deep and profound. You don't want to give that to the people that are going to abuse it. If you allow yourself to protect Mother Earth and protect yourself as though you are Mother Earth, great life comes through it as a result. Great potential as well, too. It's rising up to the fullest likelihood of motherhood, and more than that, universalhood. Earth is a crossroads through which all life travels. And if you can realize yourself as that passage point for other people's perspectives, they can come and they can go without punishment, without pain. And that's a beautiful change, when we're not dependent on people to be present, but simply accepting of them as part of the process of life. Joanna Flood, let's get you. And then I have a question from Cece. I've got a card request from Valeria. Let's get you three. Joanna Flood. Joanna, you're coming up with the 10 of Swords. So in numerology, when you reach the double digits, you size it back down. So 10 becomes 1 again and restarts the cycle. To do this, you have to realize the full, complete knowledge and awareness and capacity that you've accomplished. You don't need to go and learn and explore more. You've accomplished it. You have learned what is in the books. You have learned what is in the texts. You have learned what is in the universe. Now you can step with that knowledge to the next evolutionary level. Looking at it from a spiritualist perspective, it's like going from being in simple meditation into doing energy work. In an educator's viewpoint, it's taking your bachelor's of science and going for the master's. Or in work life, it's going from being, say, an assistant manager to a regional manager. It's not small steps, it's big steps and big transformations. And so as long as you're accepting yourself as somewhat completed, and that's the tricky process. Those of us that are inherently curious and inherently open, we always want to think that there's something more that we can take out of an experiment, that we can take out of a moment. Knowing when it is enough and being satisfied with that enough so that we can let go of what was and allow what could be to come and take its place, that's a superpower. That's allowing yourself to not be so attached that you become stagnant, stuck, or prevented from your best evolution. So you're in a really good position to evolve forward, to get a whole nother layer onto the beautiful onion that we call life, and to bring yourself out in a fuller, more magnificent kind of way. This is empowering, but terrifying. Transition is never easy, and there is that whole death rebirth cycle that we all have to consider as well too. So make sure you're working with trusted friends and good company and people that really matter to you, and allow them to inspire you through this passage of transformation. Very powerful energy form to be hitting on spring, because that means that your summer is going to be full of a lot of new experiences, new starts, and new insights. So you've got a very exciting summer coming up ahead. I love that. Enjoy that, Joanna. Thanks so much for joining us today, and thanks again for all the gifts. Cece, does H like me? How does H feel about Cece? Let's see. No jumpers, just give me a cut. No doubles. No doubles for at least another few more. What did I just say about doubles? So, Cece, H perceives you as someone that they can get connection from. How that connection work is tricky. If they're using you just for reassurance and encouragement and your compliance, that is not a healthy thing. That means that they're using you for their own advantage, and that's not the means of any counselor to be used. So, does H like you? Yes. But what is it that they like about you? What is it that they're getting out of you that they feel like makes you that mystical, special thing? Is it really a part of you that is core and intrinsic to you? Or is it a part of you that is simply there because this person's there? Sometimes people just take what is available versus actually doing the work in themselves. So the reassurances become a reminder that they don't really have to change, and be careful with that. Don't give H an energy that they're going to abuse. Don't let them take advantage of your flow, and don't let them take advantage of your dynamic. Typically, counselors come with a really big heart. There's a lot of capacity and there's a lot of love. And you'll want to make sure that you're very careful that H is not using that recklessly and in a way that hurts you. There is a really big risk of being hurt and abused when this comes up. So make sure that you're not letting them take advantage of you and just use you for free advice. If they want to be in your life, they have to make a commitment that respects you and respects your energy form. If they're not paying that respect and not paying that effort, don't do it. Don't keep giving in to them. Anna, thank you so much for the gifts. Appreciate. I'm not sure, we're just about to hit 99 new messages. I'm not sure how many of those are requests down there, so I'm going to try and work my way through as best as I can. If I don't get to you, feel free to shoot me a message. Especially now that we're over 100 messages, feel free to shoot me a message and I'll happily look at a card for you a little bit later on tonight. I hate to see people not get information when they look for it, and so if you've put in a request and I don't reach to you in time, please, oh please, reach out and I'll make sure we get your request then. Valeria, let's get your card up next, and then I'll scroll down and see what new names we've got going on. Valeria. Valeria is coming up with the 4, what would that be? Upwards, so that's 4 of air. Communication, thoughts, ideas, new expressions, finding sort of a balance and new understanding. Typically, this is seen as a rest card, and what they do with this one, Valeria, is they turn it into a comprehension card, recognizing that certain elements work with one another and opposite one another. It is taking your knowledge and understanding of the world and applying it in new ways and new insights, and not in a way that's trying to aggress or develop, but in a way that services you. It's recognizing that you don't have to go and study 1,000 different cooking books. You have cooked enough that you can cook for yourself when you so choose to. It's not needing to panic when you get in on a vehicle that is a manual or an automatic manual. I've done stick shift before. I know the concepts of what it sounds like when an engine's ready to gear up, and your previous experiences are very valid in this moment and in this time. So I would recommend, Valeria, trust what you know. Trust your knowledge, trust your experience, trust your capacity, trust your power. It's obvious that you've done a lot to learn and grow and achieve things. Utilize that information and use that energy so that you can push yourself forward appropriately. You are the master of your own time. And as long as you're applying that time in such a way that it keeps you advancing in great growth, you will never fail. The trick with sword or air energy is to make sure that there's always communication, expression, advancement, and growth. If you're allowing yourself to have that constant ability of expression, it just lifts you, makes you more fuller, because it's not just you servicing your own emotions, it's you servicing your own understandings. Life is about understanding. We're here to perceive life, experience it, and come to greater understanding. So engage with that. Live passionately with that. Good things come as a result. Hi, Tammy May. Let's get you a card here. I might try to fast fire over the next few here just to catch up a little bit. 5 of Wands coming up for Tammy, being in a state of conflict or struggle, working with or against somebody else. But ultimately, it's not supposed to be an against that's confrontational, aggressive, but confrontational, instructive. Someone is trying to help you to improve your quality and form to the next level. And you need to understand that while they might be swinging hard, they're not trying to break you, they're trying to teach you. This is hard if we feel very much invaded upon or aggressed upon. And so you have to make sure you're leaving an open mind to believing that this person doesn't really wish you harm, they wish you improvement. If you can perceive how or where, you might be able to start asking why. And then they can give you their insights, they can give you their understanding, they can make you a participant in what they're trying to do, and not just a victim ultimately of them trying to improve you. So wherever possible, look and see where somebody's actions towards you may not be about hurting you, but maybe about trying to lift you up another step. If you can find that flow and find that dynamic and work with those people rather than the people that want to be violent sandpaper, it makes life so much easier. Life really is an experience with sandpaper. It's shaping you day by day into a new form, into a new capacity. Allow yourself to go through that transformation and that growth. Good things come with it. Hi, Tasharinen. Thanks for joining the show. I've got KK giving me permission. I've got Larissa giving me permission and a question. Let's see what we've got for Larissa first. Larissa, is Saturn meant for me? We're going to keep this quick and short. Try to catch up on my time. Are you meant for Saturn? Integrity is what comes up. Is this person worthy of you? Does this person compromise your quality of self? And if so, why would you give up your quality for somebody else? Never lessen and cheapen yourself to meet somebody on their level, especially when it comes to intimacy or relationships. Because when you're dropping your quality, you're diminishing your value. You don't want to do that. So are they meant for you? Depends. Can they behave like they're worth your time? Can they step up to that full potential and full capacity? Can they be worth you? Meant for you is one thing. At the end of the day, everybody's meant for everybody. Doesn't mean that there's only one person for you in the world. And so if Saturn can't reach up and become more quality in himself or theirself, then no. Don't waste your time and don't waste your energy. Don't waste your focus on those that aren't improving themselves, especially in romantic relationships. KK, let's get you a card, KK. Thanks for joining the show. KK, could I get a card? Need it today. KK, you need to stop doubting yourself. You need to stop doubting yourself and need to believe in the power, radiance, and great energy that you have within yourself. You are creative, you are expressive, you have bounty. You have so much potential, and all you just need is this last understanding that it is all your power to use, and you can step through into a whole new evolution of yourself. You hold back. And maybe it's because of past experiences, maybe it's because of mistakes, maybe it's because of fear, but you should not reduce yourself in that way. Ultimately, you have so much potential and so much life. Don't let it get taken away from you in any way, any shape, or any form. KK, it's your gift of creativity that makes you shine in the world. It's your gift of creativity and self-expression that makes you valuable. And so embrace in that energy, give that energy fully to yourself, and through that giving of it to yourself, you get to make yourself the brightest and most powerful star in the sky. It's your time to shine. Good luck with that, KK. Michael is asking, is Jacqueline missing me? Maybe. Are they missing you, or are they missing the stability? Earth energy, it's all about balance and stability, but also the essential here is just so angry looking. Do they miss your spark, but don't miss your instability? Do they miss your creativity, but don't miss your unpredictability? Do they miss a part of you? Probably. But will they accept you back? No, because of another part of you. And so they're in a mixed kind of mood right now. They're not sure if it really is what it was made out to be. And they're doing some thinking and some processing and trying to decide if it was all that it was cracked up to be. So missing parts of you, sure. But missing all of you, maybe not quite on that level, no. It's tricky there with that one. They are guarding something. And so if there is an issue of robbed of time that exists with that person, take more time before trying to reach back out. Tash, let's get you a love look. Tash Serenen. Like that name. Anyway, Tash, love reading. Can we get a confirmer on this one, please? I don't do jumps. You know I don't do jumps. Tash, you need some time. You need some time and you need some care. So the first card that came up was the Ace of Wands, rediscovering your fire, your passion, your capacity, and taking your power back into your own hands. When I got the confirming card, I came up with the healing. My vibe tells me, Tash, is that there's something that you have to kind of overcome in your own emotions and your own flow. And once you do kind of get past that energy and that form, then yes, a new love and a new connection is definitely possible. But it's hard to get into a new love when we're painting it with the brushes that we used in the last relationship. I used to date exclusively redheads until I decided that all redheads were crazy. And because of painting the most recent redhead with the first redhead, I was always doing them a disservice, treating them as somebody else. We can never treat our new relationships as though they are somebody else. They might have similar traits, qualities, or quirks, but that doesn't make them the same person. And as long as a person is respectful that each is going through their own transformation and journey, then that understanding that people are coming from their own position is more than possible. But it's tricky being able to actually see that to its fullest form. You have to make sure that you're actually allowing yourself forgiveness and acceptance as well too. So take your time with the love, Tash. Maybe have just a little bit more fun this September and this summer, focusing on good company, good cheer, good energy, and let the intimacy come naturally from those experiences and not from anything that was forced through. Good day, Raquel. Good to see you. Good luck, Tash. I just got there. I'm just kind of looking through all the names here. Soon it will be my turn. That's crazy fresh. Raquel, what can I expect with the man that is my love life? Raquel, I can get you here. And Ayana, I got you on the screen now too. So let's get these two knocked out of here. I'm working through the list. If you're adding on to the bottom, just hang tight with me and I'll get back down there. We are catching up on messages, so it's obviously slowed down. Now is definitely the time to hang out and just chill with it for a little while. Raquel, what can I expect with the man that is in my love life? Lots of communication, lots of expression, but sometimes a little bit more pushy with the agenda than you might like. King of Air is usually very direct, concise, and critical. And for them, it's about making the plan go forward. It's not really about worrying about the feelings with everybody involved in that plan. So you may at times feel like they're not considering you or not looking at you for who you are. And that's not quite the case. The deeper matter of it is that they have something that they have to do. They have to execute. They have to plan it out and make it occur. And if you can work with them on that level, then great. But if you need them to be more emotionally communicative, this is sort of a tough place to draw that out from. They're not really about the emotions, they're about the logic and the science of it. And so sometimes getting depth there can be a little bit more difficult. Take your time with it. Realize that they do have good ideas and good thoughts within their mind, Raquel, but is it the right plan for you, or is it the right plan for only them? Good luck, Raquel. Ayana, let's get you in here. Card for Ayana. Ayana coming up with the 10 of Water. Satisfaction and completion and finding oneself rebonding with the greater flow of themselves. What does T think of you? He thinks you're home. He thinks your safety. He thinks your security. He thinks you're the blessing that makes everything perfect and right and okay again. Which, if you're in a relationship and trying to develop that relationship, this is great. You can see the heart sort of shining through in the back. This can sometimes be a little bit obsessive though. And so make sure that they are not putting you up on a pedestal and making you the be-all and end-all of their emotional satisfaction. It's good to love your partner, yes. It's good to be committed to your partner, absolutely. But if you become obsessed with your partner as though they're the only person in the world, that's when it becomes a major back issue. That's when it becomes a trap and a curse, not a blessing. And being worshipped and chased down in that way can be really dangerous. So make sure that they are doing this in a healthy way and not an obsessive way. If they are being healthy, if they are being respectful, if they're understanding the boundaries, then yeah, I like this vibe, I like this flow, I like this attention. But if they are being oppressive with their attention, then you need to back away slowly and carefully. Hi, Margaret. I don't do mediumship. Margaret asked, anyone coming through for me? That is typically a question for mediumship, centering in around direct energy connection with the spirits of the dead. I am not a medium. I will wholly and absolutely admit that I'm not a medium. I have studied many mediums and I've tried to replicate their energy pattern, and true mediums I cannot replicate the pattern for. So I can answer other questions, but unfortunately, Hi, Chris. Hi, Simi Brad. Good to see y'all. Hi, Courtney. They're not twin flames. Twin flames don't exist. In fact, twin flames is a concept that was created by some ex-Nazi sympathizers. So I'm really, really done with the concept of twin flames at this point. I'm not letting it have any bearing or any shape or any form. I do believe in soul pods. I do believe in soulmates. And I believe through that process, you will have so many people come into your life that will affect you. But I do not believe at all that there is only one twin flame for you that's going to bring satisfaction in this world. That is a trap. That is a danger. That is a subduing of a person's free will, and that is dangerous. Darlene, is David coming back? Let's find out. Darlene, is David coming back? I need a confirmer. Is David coming back? Maybe. Good maybe. Strong maybe. The first card that came up was the Four of Air. So finding one's own control of their own time, their own gifts, their own power, and being within full comfort of themselves. And then my confirmer card came up with Three of Wands. Both of these are masculine energies. The vibe that I get is that David is working very hard on something of progression and development for themselves. And I mean no offense to you when I say this, Darlene, you're not a participant in that. They have to do this for their own empowerment. They have to take themselves from point A to point B with everything that is them Otherwise, they never really get to a new state of themselves. They never advance. So David is doing something that is combating stagnation within their own development. And if you're patient with them in that process, then sure, they will show back up at some point. But interfering with that process can sometimes cause people to become excessively defensive, to the point of violent repulsion, trying to chase you off or scare you away or push you away. It is also true that sometimes when people are going through their changes and transformations, they become monsters within themselves. And it may be possible that David's keeping that monstrous self away from you so as to not bother you, upset you, or frighten you. Give it space, give it time. Let him have his journey, let him have his growth and exploration. And in due time and appropriate time, he'll come back around. You just have to allow him that journey of process. Okay, let's keep going down on the list. Courtney, will I get answers this month on my health? Let's find out for you, Courtney. Anna McCallick, I see you in there, and Chris Monique. I've got you three up on the list. Courtney, Anna, and Chris. Let's draw up some cards. Starting with Courtney. Courtney asking about health. Now, Courtney, health. First things first, understand, no reader should really discuss too much about what's going on with somebody's health because we're not really doctors, and so we got to be really careful when we approach that topic form. What I will say is this. I've got, as a main card, the 4 is coming up again on understanding of self, and then I've also got the 10 of Cups. My gut tells me this, Courtney. The health concerns are not just you, they are family related, which is usually genetic or upbringing or something to that effect. It's surmountable, but not in a way that most people would consider better. It's not, my vibe tells me that it's something that you have to consider as a lifelong situation. And whether that be, like we see it a little bit with things like diabetes or other conditions like that, where the body's just not producing the right thing or enough of a thing. And so having to be self-aware enough to know what's going on there and working with that directly. So answers, possibly. But you need to make sure that you're looking into all the right categories, not just what your body does, but the stories and medical history of family on top of it as well too. And careful examination of the results that are coming back through blood work, I believe are going to be your best names of the game here. Other than that, keep it, like if you've got a family physician and they're not charging you per visit, then just keep with them on a consistent basis. If you do, then the next big step, honestly, keep a very close tab on what you eat, what you drink, how you rest, all those energies that have a really deep effect on the personal well-being. I don't think that there is a heal. I don't think there is a cure. I think there is a lifestyle change and adjustment. And I really, really do hope that it's not too drastic from what you know. Good luck, Courtney. Anna, what does Adrian want to tell me tomorrow? Does he want to come back with? Maybe. 2 of stones, 2 of earth is usually related towards fluctuation and transformation. He's probing for something. He is probing for something and trying to decide if it's the right way or the right course. He wants to tell you something about his own success, and he wants to see what you do in response. If he likes the response, then I think he is going to try and get you to come back. But I'm not, I just have a weird vibe on what is it that he's going to say. And I don't, like, I've got no evidence of this. I just get a weird sense that he's trying to feed you information that you want to hear, or at the very least present himself greater than he is. It's like saying, oh yeah, I'm a major manager for a company, and well, you're a store level manager for one location. They only have 1 location, so yeah, you are important, but you're not as important. And so just try to read between the lines of what Adrian has to say and make sure that you're looking down to the very, very core concepts of all of it. I just I have this weird feeling of mistrust in my gut. And usually when that comes up, somebody is trying to make them out better than they actually are. They're trying to make sure that they are presenting themselves the way that they want to be presented, and that they're not necessarily presenting themselves honestly or sincerely. Good luck. Let me know how that one shapes out. That would be a really good confirming one for me. So please, please message me after the fact. Let me know how that one shapes out. Chris Monique, will I get pregnant this year? Let's take a look, see if we get one of the indicators. I'm giggling to myself because the last person that asked me about pregnancy ended up with the crone, and you ask about pregnancy and you end up with the maiden. So in your case, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna double down and just go with a yes. You're ready. You're set. You just need to make sure that you allow the bonding and the coupling to occur, and it will occur. I think you are proceeding on to that next evolution. You've enjoyed the experiences of life. You might regret a little bit cutting down your time, but I think you are really, really ready for that next step and that next evolution. And I think, yeah, I have just a instinct that yes, you'll be stepping into motherhood at some point this year. Good luck, Chris. That's going to be a fun one for you. I hope it goes wonderfully. Other Chris. This one, Chris from Canada. Just a card. Will I ever move from Toronto? Let's find out. Chris is asking about moving from Toronto. Do you have family there? Like, is it blood relatives or something emotional that keeps you trapped there? Because with the Queen of Water, what we're seeing is emotional bonding on a very deep and intricate level. And so that's... as long as that emotional trap is there, no, I don't think that you'll be ever moving out of Toronto. I think it will keep you in that place and in that position simply because of the familiarity and comfort and security that is provided by it. So you're a little bit stuck so long as you have that bond. If you change that bond or develop a way that it doesn't have so much power over top of you, then a move is far more likely. But you have to abandon the things that you value to do that. And that's the twist. Do you really want to abandon? Do you really want to give up on what you value and what you feel is so important that way? Oh, you're a Pisces. Yeah, no, it's the water effect even more so. Comfort's important for a Pisces. They always go back, like a fish always goes back to where it was spawned. So no, I don't think, not without a really hard push. You're not getting out of Toronto, my man. I'm so sorry. I need to visit Toronto, actually. It's been on my list for a number of years, but that's a long story for another day. JJ! Looking for a card. What have we got for JJ? Whoop. JJ's energy. Thank you. One card. Thank you. JJ, you're looking at the Abundance card. This is a fun one in their Major Arcana. It's a satisfaction of needs. It's a completion of capacity. But it's also the 15th Major Arcana, which is normally the Devil card. And so I always have a twist on this one of, yes, there's abundance, but where is it coming from? It is the individual in front that is receiving abundance, but the abundance is controlled by the spirit and dragon behind it. And so there is great yield, there is great growth, there is great option, JJ, but it isn't just yours. It's from somebody else through you and into the world. As long as you can respect that exchange and that dynamic, then it's fantastic energy to tap into. But if it's coming at a cost, if it's coming at an expense that is to your soul and to your freedom and to your self-expression, and you are giving up more than you are gaining from this exchange, then I'd be really, really careful about it. Not all of us are really big on having someone put a collar around our neck and lead us around by a leash. But some of us do also quite find that to be perfectly comfortable. And if that's your state of being, that's your state of being. It's totally allowed as long as you make the choice. Your free will allows you to choose where you get and how. And so allow yourself to make the final choice. If this abundance comes from a place that you don't respect, you don't have to take it. If it comes from a place that you are okay being a part of, by all means, dip on in. The abundance is there. Just make sure you are making the final choice on whether you do or do not receive it. Kyrib. That's a nice question, Kyrib. Flat out, yes, you are still important and you are still needed. The divine loves you and wants you to be a part of this world and part of this experience. It may be that people around you right now are not providing the best form or the best formats. The perception of what's going on around you may not be the most bright or the most optimistic, but truly, there is a purpose for your breathing. There is a purpose for your actions. There's a purpose for your steps. Kyrib, I promise you that you are still important, and I assure you with all my confidence that you are still needed. Your perception is being clouded. Whatever it is that's making life painful like that, do what you can to scare it off, chase it off. Work with those that you know see value in who you are. They may be few. There may be changes and transformation and growth that's required to integrate fully, but there is some reason for you existing. For better or for worse, good and evil, all of us exist for a reason. So do not be afraid to continue on. You are here for a purpose, I promise. Alex Stafese. If you're just joining us, I'm going to do what I can to try and work through the 77 messages that I still have, and we'll keep trucking away on this. If I miss you today, I am so sorry. Shoot me a message or catch me next Thursday, and we'll get another cards going on then. I'm going to keep trying to truck through. I do have to go move my laundry soon, though, so we'll have to jump on that sometime soonish here. Alex DeFuss is asking about cheating. It is always weird when relationships end. And you're got a vibe telling you that it's somebody else. Fuck. I hate... Cheating is a big word. Cheating is a really, really big word. Some monogamous relationships, the concept is that you are to each other and nobody else. If you talk to another person of the opposite gender, you are cheating. That's an extreme example. But that is how some people view monogamous relationships. You talk to another man, how dare you? And depending on the individual, that may or may not be appropriate in their perspective. In polyamorous relationships, communication is expected. And so if a person says, hey, I'm going to go hang out with so-and-so and we're going to have a good time, that's the norm. And so it really does come back to what does each individual believe is what is cheating and what is not. The reason why I say it is because two cards kind of popped here. This one here depicts a possibility, something of a black and white situation where it's just not working out. Sometimes that comes up when a person realizes that something else feels better for them, and that's unfortunate. But the Self card is kind of counteracting that. I don't think they've necessarily stepped out per se, but I do think that they have experienced something that is challenging their concept of the relationship. As a result of that challenge, they are now thinking, maybe I do need to go and find more that suits for me. And so it's not so much about another person drawing them away. It's about their own development and needing to get back into it into a fuller form. So cheating, technically, no. But if your own perspective demands that somebody holds very strict behavior when it comes to discussions and working with others, then from your perspective, yes, there's been a violation of that nature. But that doesn't mean that it was a sexual violation. It may not even been romantic violation. It may just simply be that they talked to somebody who introduced an idea to them, and now they want to take that idea and see how far it goes. And that can be one of the more painful breakups on the planet, because there's really nothing that you can do to stop it. It's a person expressing their own free will and their own desire to kind of meet and connect with others around them. Sorry, Alex. Be careful with that one. See what comes out for it as the discovery. Lexa Lee, thank you very much. Thank you also for reinforcing what I said for Kyrib. Yes, you are important, 100%. Uh, Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Nicole's one of my favorite names. Let's get a card for Nicole here. Nicole, you're coming up with the Six of Water. This one is very much about receptivity, connection, and sharing. This individual in the picture is offering something over, sort of like their heart on a chain, a token of themselves to another person. Could be you receiving, it could be you giving, but the whole point is when we share our time and our gifts with others, we're giving of ourselves over to this other energy and over to this other form. We're expanding ourselves in a way and allowing ourselves to be seen and felt, not just in our presence, but in our gift and our ideology as well too. It's why people like doing the wedding rings thing, because it becomes a constant reminder of somebody else's energy and feelings towards you. And it's a powerful lift to make you realize that you can carry others with you wherever you go. Their blessing is with you wherever you go. Allowing yourself to share with others so that you can have that exchange of gift to and fro empowers you to then be deeper and even greater amongst the population. Make sure that you are sharing of yourself appropriately. You don't have to pour yourself into every single cup that you find, but sharing with the ones that are significant and making it something meaningful and personal. Really good energy on that one. Nicole, don't be afraid to share what you've got, because what you've got is beautiful. Jacqueline Lapointe, ask pregnant with your fourth. Congratulations. A lot of readers won't read pregnant women. Found that out at the Russian tea room. That's another story for another day. Let's do Jacqueline here. I might have to go change my laundry after this one. I'm so sorry about that. Jacqueline, what do we got for you? Jacqueline coming up with the integrity. Are you ready for this? Are you guys as a unit ready for this? You've got a certain mindset and a certain attitude when it comes to children and everything else. And I don't think you would go down certain paths, but after child is born, you might, because there comes a point where you realize it's a lot of pressure to put on yourself and your partner. This is a very deep conversation that needs to be had. And when you have it is up to you. But before a fifth is produced is probably the key element. If you start diving too quickly into more dynamics after this one, I think you're going to get overwhelmed and start to feel a little bit displaced on your own energy form. So pick carefully. Fourth feels okay. Is this the satisfying point though? Is this the point where you feel like you've actually accomplished the goal of motherhood and care that you were seeking? Or is it at this point that a boundary needs to be laid out so that no more occurs and your space and body is protected? It's a heavy, heavy energy form. But as long as you are fully respecting yourself in the discussion, you won't be taken advantage of. But you've got a deep conversation coming up fairly quickly here about what you see family should be growing into. Be prepared for that. It's not going to get easy anytime soon. Going to kind of scale through here, get a sense of where we're at on things. Hi, Sage. Arturo. That should be an easy one. Let's do that one quick. I'm planning to go do my laundry soon. And so bear with me for the time being. I'll get a few more knocked out, try to get the number of messages down to 50. I'm currently at 88, and then we'll carry on where we go. Because I see Grey Witch is trying to poach, and well, I love it when they try. Sage, what do we got for you? Arturo. Feelings or obsession? A lot of passion. A lot of quick, very bright and powerful energy, and finds you very exotic, finds you very unique, finds you very beautiful. But is it obsession, or is it passion, or is it affection? I lean more towards a sense of obsession and passion, which is nice, but it can sometimes be invasive, it can sometimes be controlling. So be mindful with this energy and really ask Arturo to get very clear about their intentions in the long run. I don't believe you want to be overrun and taken advantage of. That would just not be the best way for you. There's definitely a spark, but let's make sure that this spark isn't an unhealthy one. Boop. All right. Marie, I can do full readings, absolutely. I'm just doing single cards right now, but if you message me, I can absolutely set you up something and make something happen over that way for you. Poking my nose through. Zuza, should I focus on David or Hubert? Geez, that was Valeria's thank you. That was a while ago. It's going to be interesting to see just how much more there is down there. Messages are down to 77. I'm going to get them to 50 so I can go change my laundry. But I am not going to give up on this just yet. Zuzia, who should you focus on? Cheeky card. I don't like cheeky cards. Come on, guys. Give me something I can work with. I might turn this into a clip. Message me and tell me that I shouldn't if you don't want me to, but I might turn this into a clip because this is just a bad joke. And anytime I run into a bad joke, I call it a Bob Says Hi moment. Bob is my universe, Bob is my divine, and sometimes he's a cheeky son of a whisket. Zuzia, neither of them, or both of them. It really doesn't matter. The instinct I get from these cards is you yourself know what you're seeing in one or the other, and there isn't really one that's better or that's worse. They're both their own case. And so if you do end up going to one and constantly look over your shoulder wondering what might have been, you're going to end up sabotaging the choice that you make. And so you need to really find the resolve in yourself of what you want your life to be like. Does David or does Hubert match your life 20 years from now? If neither of them do, your answer is neither. If one does more than the other, I would go in that direction. But from these cards here, I get a strong sense that they really aren't any different. It's your intuition telling you one thing, your perception telling you another. What do you want to listen to? What do you want to obey? Your logical mind or your emotional heart? And when you approach it in that dynamic, one becomes a little bit clearer as an answer, and that, I say, is probably the direction you should go. Relationship energy is also so tricky. It changes so rapidly. And so, realistically, if you don't have a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan, start with that, and then get a sense of which one, David or Hubert's, going to better match your long-term planning. Kylie is wondering what kind of man will she marry. Oops. I'm going to be schmucky on this one and just go with the element of the card. What kind of man? Earth sign, grounded, centered, good with money, respectful to animals, nature lover, always getting out there and doing what they can in nature and always doing what they can to be a part of nature, not dominating nature. No rig workers. Rig workers, they like to think that they're hardworking and part of the world, but at the end of the day, it's all about drilling and breaking things. And so it's not that vibe, it's not that energy. It's about gentleness, compassion, but integrity and a formidable nature because they can endure and survive in places that others cannot. Grounded, centered, natural. Not about being showy, not about being flashy, but about just simply being present and consistent. Earth sign, definitely earth sign. Earth energy is actually fantastic for partnerships. They are typically a lot more stable than you see in a lot of the other dynamics. Nita, will I get my visa this month or next month? Nita's wanting to know about a visa. We've got next month. It's the Three of Wands, long journeys, long passage. I'm going to go with next month for Nita. Tevin, wondering about the energy between me and Mickey. Let's find out. Tevin. Youthful discovery, youthful expression. You guys bring out the inquisitive, the explorative. You bring out the opportunity to see new things and develop new gifts and develop new insights. You guys develop each other really quite well. On the short term, that's fantastic, but on the long term, it can be a little bit trickier because, Tevin, it's ultimately saying that you guys are developing a relationship centered around growth. At some point, growth takes you out of where you are and into other things. And so it's an energy of transformation. How long it lasts is sometimes tricky to tell. Youth ends. At some point, we end our puberty and we're no longer developing in that way. But everything that we learned in that time can be life-changing and life-altering. Mickey's going to be impactful, but not necessarily by their presence. It might just be through the fact that they were there, that they have this influence over you over the long term. Very powerful energy, very powerful form. That one's going to be... I just worry that when you guys do come time to separation, it's hard to let go. And so remember that everyone comes to your lifetime for a period. Sometimes it is a season. Sometimes it is literally just a moment. Sometimes it's supposed to be a lifetime. This one is not a lifetime connection, Tevin. This one is, it's here for the moment or here for the season, but when the moment has ended, you're both going to have to move along to the next. Ghostly Ginger. Let's get you a card here. Ghostly Ginger. I sure hope you weren't here earlier for my rant about gingers. I am so sorry if you were. Emotions, intellect. This is a very powerful meeting point in the expression of ourself, because emotional intelligence comes specifically from experience and going through some shit. Once we've experienced a lot of emotions, we start to realize the source of our emotions, the power of our emotions, and the direction of them. We can start communicating them not as a flood of water breaking through a dam, but as a concentrated stream, almost a tool that can focus and fire and express perfectly. You're demonstrating a beautiful new developed stage in that, but you'll notice that the energy is mostly blue with the one bit sparking through and exciting it all up here. If someone is disrupting your emotional balance, now is the time to start building the barriers and defenses so that they can no longer have that negative influence over top of you. It's about recognizing when, yes, the passion is important, but the logic and the reasoning is more important for the moment to succeed and move forward without harm or danger to parties involved. It's about engaging not just the feelings, but the reason behind the feelings. It is really, really, really good in recognizing yourself as evolving and moving upward. But the downside to it, it's... unfortunately, the downside to it, once people start knowing how they can work your emotions, they sometimes don't stop. If it is through manipulation, you may have to break a tie here, and that's not fun. But if it saves you, it's necessary. So just get ready for some difficult emotional decisions. If you can inspire conversation around them first, that will absolutely be the healthier option here. Sage, different Sage, asking about, does Royce ever think about me in a romantic way? Let's take a look. Passion, yes. Romantic, not so sure. Exciting, beautiful, gorgeous, lots of fire, lots of passion, lots of ooh la la. But that's not love. That's not romance. That's covetous. That's I want to take that rose and make it mine. It's control. And so do I call it a romantic way? No. Would I call it a carnal way or an indulgent way? Quite likely. It's unfortunately a case where they see you as a passion and not just an expression. I did eventually get to Anna's question, Anna McKellock, 85. If I didn't, I've got 60 questions left, or 69 messages left to go. When I get down there, I'll double check and make sure it hasn't kind of come back up. Katya is asking about Riku. Does he love you? Let's take a look. 69 messages. I can almost go change my laundry over, guys. Katya asking about Riku. Does Riku love me? define love. I'm going to have to go on a tirade at some point about how there's different levels of love. He is passionate about you. Define love. I'm going to have to go on a tirade at some point about how there's different levels of love. He is passionate about you. He feels that, yes, you are the equal to his situation and that he needs you at that side. But it's a little bit of a... There's different levels of love. Feels that, yes, you are the equal to his situation. Subdued control. Be really, really careful with that. Joa said so. Let's do that one next. Thoughts. You'll be okay. My gut tells me that it'll be okay, but you got to make sure that you're not letting negative thoughts lead you into indulgences or behaviors that would be self-destructive. There may be a risk if you allow your dark thoughts to overpower you, and instead you have to be rational and logical. There is some things that you need to do, and applying yourself in there carefully is important. But if you're not working with your best reasoning, if you're responding passionately, if you're responding emotionally, if you're panicking, then no, there's going to be some trouble because you're letting your thoughts run wild. Joe, you're going to have to make sure that you're doing what you can to get things in a good flow, thought processing, good rationale, and then good things will come through as a result of that. Happy, I really don't like diving in on the health questions. Shoot me a message if you want. Melly asking for a reading. Melly, your card. I can give you a card, Melly. Not a full reading. I can give you a card. If you want a reading, shoot me a message. Jazz the Karate King. Geez, there's a lot of messages in there. Hold on a second, guys. Next month, Nita. Next month. I answered your question earlier. You're next month. Melly, you are still here. Okay, I was just looking down to the very bottom to see how bad it actually is. This is going to be a little bit tight for a minute, but it looks like I might be able to get through a good chunk of this. So, Melly, you're up. Melly, the 9 of Swords. Oh shoot, I even left that card out. Ooh. I blame gravity. I blame you, Willow. Actually, I didn't see that you just snuck in. Hi, Willow. Hi, Willow. You come in and I drop my phone. What's that? What's that? Miss you. Hope you're doing good. Melly, let's get back to you and let's get back on focus here. I'm gonna rip through the last few that I've got here, and then I need to go move my laundry before other people complain. Melly. We just had those 2 cards back to back. Try again. Yeah, try again. Melly. Melly, I've got you on the 7 of Fire. This one's tricky. With this particular one, there's an offering happening, but the woman involved is not really kind of keen in on it. There's a nervousness occurring, a need to kind of look and see not what's being offered, but the person that is offering it to you. You'll notice also that there's the snake on the hand representing communication, needing an honest expression from the other party. I think somebody is trying to sell you something that they believe is truth, but at the core of it might not actually be so. And if you can see past their gift and past what they're offering and past what they're trying to do for you and get to what their intentions behind that gift are, that's when you can actually get yourself away from their trap. I do use the word trap specifically. There is something there that they're trying to use as a means of coaxing you into their own comfort and into their own form, and that's not really that appropriate. No one should be coerced against their free will. And so if you can kind of track down what is really going on behind their scenes, that's when you can start to challenge them based upon the truth and not just on the suspicions. Good luck, Melly. Jazz the Karate Queen. Jasmine. Maybe. Maybe. Give it another couple of days. Maybe you could try calling today, but I feel like you're going to end up leaving a message or something else is just going to be just a quick moment, and then they do end up getting back to you quite quickly. It's just a matter of timing with them. Is my gut instinct. With the Three of Cups, it can sometimes be about finding placement, and right now it's sitting in a yes, you should join our school of fish, but they need something taken care of on their side first. And whether that be interview, whether that be application, or whether that just be their timing point, they need that little bit of time. So don't panic, and don't flood them with calls. If not today, then tomorrow is sort of my gut feeling. Marcy. Hi, Marcy. Define better, Marcy. Love life is tricky, right? We're sharing of ourselves with another person, but there's parts of you that you refuse to share. There's parts of you that you keep very secret, very to yourself, very away from others. A mask, perhaps, might be one way to describe it, but I think it's more intricate than that. I think you have a depth that you don't want to share with others because you don't expect them to receive it. You have a level and an intensity that you would love to share with others, but they disrespect it, they abuse it, they take advantage of it. Or worse yet, they see what's on the surface, but they can't get into anything deeper than that. You're too complex, and that's not a bad thing. But for the simple-minded, it is absolutely a problem because they will never be able to meet your level, and then they have to attack your level so that they can bring you down to theirs. That's not appropriate. So will it get better over time? Yes, but don't play around with those that cannot meet your level. If they're not at your depth, they're not for you. Black and white. If they cannot meet your level, if they cannot meet your depth, they are not for you. Arabelle asking about will S contact me and when? Let's see what we got for you, Arabelle. Possibly. The when is tricky. I think they want to right now, but they're cautious or nervous or anxious on it, and they don't want to love bomb you, might be the context here. How do they express to you the depth of it? How do they express to you the intensity? And they just don't have the words of the communication on it. It's going to be a little bit, maybe a month, but definitely maybe a month, maybe this year. Somewhere in the summer, I feel like there's going to be a bonding point or a time to kind of share time with each other. And as a result of that time shared, new developments come up as a result. It's just got to be open and receptive to it. And when they do reach out, just make sure that you're there and ready for it. Will Michael call Anne-Marie today? Let's find out. Maybe. What's he need from you today? That's going to be my better question. The call isn't necessarily just about connecting. The call is about needing something from you. And when he does reach out, it doesn't feel like it's really deep. It doesn't feel like it's really powerful. So don't get your hopes up for something more than what it's going to be. It's probably not going to have that level of intensity that you're looking for. Abby asking, is my partner cheating? Let's take a look, see. Maybe. Define cheating, right? Talking to another girl, any other girl, if that's cheating, then there might be a problem. If instead it's going out and having sex with others, I don't get that vibe per se, but I do think that they appreciate the attention of other individuals towards you. The problem with that is when your partner's getting attention from others, it may make you feel like your intention doesn't matter. And that's unfortunate. That's uncomfortable. Make sure that you guys are talking about what is considered the levels of respect and levels of appropriateness. And if ultimately they're stepping out, not physically, but emotionally or intellectually, you can encourage them to kind of come back into a good way, but you also can't control them. So if there may be a point of realization that the understanding of what a relationship is not quite the same as what you're hoping for. So sorry about that. So cheating, define cheating. Getting attention from other people, if that's cheating, maybe. Going out and sleeping with other people, I don't get that vibe, but it's something in between those zones, something in between those chaoses. Ba-bum. There's Alex's thank you. That was forever ago. Hi, Terry. Thanks for coming in and joining us. I hope that you're still around. You give me permission, I draw you a card, and we just kind of roll with it from there. But it is such an intense list right now. It's kind of crazy. Rosie wants to know if she's getting married. Rosie, is she getting proposed to on this anniversary? Maybe. He's thinking about it. And the big trick is he knows that you want a particular proposal. Make sure you drop those little hints here and there, and he'll be able to pick up on what he needs to do. He needs to know exactly how, though. It has to be at your level. If the proposal's not at your level, you will not really be all that thrilled about it. And so make sure he knows the depths and intensities that you're kind of looking for there. There's nothing wrong with kind of mentioning little bits and tricks and what you liked and what you don't like. There's lots there that you can definitely kind of tap in and demonstrate just in the right ways and just in the right forms. Timing doesn't feel quite right though. Like when I think this anniversary, I don't get that same flow. I think it's something close, but it might be another event or particular timing that they're choosing for their own passion and their own comfort. Not necessarily timing based on your wants, but timing based on what they think is going to be the best. Guys, it's getting busy again. I need to go move my laundry. So I'm going to leave this here for just a minute. I do promise that I will be back and I will keep going through messages at that point. But it's worked back up to another 100 new messages, and yeah, it's going to be a problem for me to catch up. So we're going to take a break. I'm going to leave you guys on a few pretty cards here just to kind of stare at and enjoy. And I will be back in 5 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us today. Little bit of water, a little bit of running around, totally crashed the population in here, and to be honest, I don't care. I needed that breather. And never mean any offense with anything that I do, but comes a point where you are ultimately just getting overrun. And that is the life. That is the way, that is the way. So, where did I last finish off? Right, we were discussing about somebody getting a marriage proposal. Hope it works out well. So rolling down this way, our next up is Barsha. Hi, Barsha. You're asking about going to Manchester to study. Let's take a look. Manchester for Barsha? I would say maybe. Maybe. Do you have a family connection or a relation that is in that area? If yes, absolutely. If not, then my other take on it would be that Going to the UK offers you opportunity for transformation, but you don't have to take it as mother as in baby child, maybe mother as in the baby knowledge. So I'm leaning towards that it's more likely a yes, but go recognizing that you're transforming out of being a youth and into being something new, something next, something evolved. There's going to be a whole opportunity that changes you and shifts you there, and I think it will probably do you better than not. So I'll double down on that. Go ahead, Varsha. Hit on in. Nicole wants to know if she should give up on Alex. Let's take a look. Make this an easy one. Maybe. Journey is about going from one stage to the next. If you are at this point that you want to give up, then I would say give up. Move on to the next relation. Move on to the next opportunity. Don't put your energy into somebody that's not going to reciprocate that energy properly. Jillian, looking for a card. That would be the King of Air, communication, expression, finding yourself in the higher form of conversation. This one can often be about very clear plans and directed force and making sure that you're executing that energy as a target towards your best accomplishments. This is a time to not be necessarily compromising yourself based on other people's needs, but rather pushing your ideas verbally so that people can see them as a well fleshed out and processed idea. That way they know that you're not just going around willy-nilly. You've got great things at play. And that way they will work with you, not against you, and hopefully fall into line on the plan. If they're not working with your plan, if they're not working with your communication, they're probably not worth the energy that you're putting behind them. S and S. Is the X still in love? I'm going to go with no. Integrity is usually seeing oneself coming to a better form or fuller form, feeling more confident in their own identity and their own self. I don't think that they are still trying to attach onto you. I think they're finding themselves separating off and finding new beginnings and new starts and trying to move themselves to the next evolution. They're finding themselves as a separate entity from your guys' relationship. And with that rediscovery of their self, there's going to be a new format of energy and format that comes with it. Pinky, will Knighton reach out? When is always tricky. Everybody wants when. And honestly, tarot cards are crap at telling time. Not awful, but they're pretty crappy. Pinky, yes. They're already trying to formulate the idea. They're just not sure how to shoot the message to you. So at some point here, the message will be communicated. They're not rushing it though. They're lining up the shot to make sure it's perfectly timed and perfectly placed. So I wouldn't expect something on the turn of a dime. I would expect it to come up probably in the next few weeks here. Kelly. Can I have a card? Probably. What do we got for Kelly? It would be the mother again. Let's do a confirmer. Kelly confirming card. I don't know if you're trying for kids. If you are, congratulations. If you're not, then it comes down to a matter of choice and what you're trying to do with your life as an adult. Trying to find that way that you feel like you've got foundation, not being thrown into other people's chaos, not being thrown into other people's messes. Make sure that you're looking very carefully, Kelly, at what's going to give you a foundation to work with and not just be more chaos on top of your normal life. There's been too much of that chaos already as it is, and now's the time to start getting yourself into easier, happier, smoother states. It's a balance, as it were. It's about finding that balance of comfort and support for yourself. And if you're not receiving it, if you're not getting that energy form, then there's issues. So if you're trying to develop a new family right now, congratulations. If instead it's about finding out what works well so you can enjoy that future life, then make sure you're picking very carefully over the next summer so that you're not getting trapped in something that's going to be a bad sell for you. Chloe is asking, will she get the role she auditioned for? I see a person reading a script. So I'm going to say probably yes. But Chloe, I want you to reach back to me and let me know if it actually goes through or not. I say yes. Do a confirmation for me. If you get the role, call me. Let me know. If you don't get the role, then message me. Let me know. I would like to know either way if you get it or not. Rachel Armstrong asking about having another baby. Let's take a look there. Not immediately. My first gut instinct on it is not immediately, but there's something else that's kind of at play. And I'm not sure if it's stress related, money related, life related, but there's just sort of a sense that you need to take care of those other factors first before another life form can be added into the family unit. So immediately, Rachel, I don't get a sense of another baby coming, but I do get a sense that there is underlying factors that will have to be addressed first. And then yes, more children could definitely be a possibility down the way. Raj. Let's get a card for you. Will the visa get approved? Light in the shadow. I'm going to go with yes. It is going to be approved and they're going to invite you to that next stage and to that next evolution. Another point with it is it's the 9. 9 is right before the step into a whole new world. So I think it's just going through review right now and consideration. And then, yeah, I think you will be seeing something kind of coming up your way. Susie. Will Rick and I be together forever? Forever is a very long time. Like, I mean no offense, but if you are your physical being and you're worried about having someone for your entire physical life, I'll respect that. But if you're a spiritual being, forever is a very long time. And most of us know we will not be with the same people forever. It just doesn't hit. Yeah. I'm going to double down on what I just said. The physical tree is burning down. On a physical point, yes, I think you guys will have a good long run. But when it comes down to the spiritual self, you guys at some point will be drawn in other directions and other forms. And whether that's this lifetime or next lifetime, it is what it is. And it is just part of the process of flow and evolution and discovery. Very, very, very sorry about that because it does mean that you're going to get a little bit overrun potentially somewhere down the road, Susie. But at least in the immediate now, you know that you're in safety and security. Makeup Girl to you would like a card. Let's get one for her. I see on my screen questions from Makeup Girl and from Maya. Maya. Let's go Makeup Girl first. Thanks for the gifts, by the way. Much appreciated. Yours is coming up with the child. I try not to consider this one a child symbol in this deck simply because it's supposed to be similar to the Magician, discovering one's own full potential and full capacity. Innocence is also really, really important with this one as well too. And allowing yourself to live with an innocence and reflect on a pure state of being where you're not really worried, you're just enjoying. Appreciating life and approaching it all with that childlike wonder and curiosity. It is that innocence that makes children so incredibly divine. And when you allow yourself to tap into that for yourself, Makeup Girl, it allows you to see your own gift as a spiritual being. The hummingbird is sometimes a big symbol towards spiritual communication, expression, and travel. And I think there may be some gifts there that you're starting to tap into that you're evolving and allowing to become a greater form for you. Keep with that. Keep evolving that. It's going to do you good in the long run. Maya wants to know about you and Ezekiel. You're going to have to pursue him. You two have a conflicting nature in some regards, I feel, and you would end up having to pursue him and push him and develop the relationship from a new angle. Unfortunately, this creates a hunter-predator kind of situation, and that might not be the healthiest thing for the two of you. You got to be really, really careful that you're not putting your energy into something that is, how to define it? Familiar relationships we gravitate back to because we know what to expect. If you're only holding on to it because of that familiarity, it's going to explode into your face. So make sure that you're not keeping yourself trapped to that state of being. Make sure you're allowing yourself to see not just one person as your only cure. Look at it in a larger way, in a larger format. Irish is asking, does Jared have feelings for me? Let's take a look. Yes. I'm going to go with yes on this one. Now, the definition of feelings is tricky. Are they romantic feelings? Maybe. Are they emotional feelings? For sure. They may tie to a concept of seeing you as some kind of spiritual entity or a spiritual bond. And if that is indeed the case, then it's simply a matter of respecting the bond, not as an exclusive thing, but as part of your being with everything around you. They don't get to possess you. And if it does turn into an element of possession, trying to own and be owned, run fast, run far. If it can instead be held in respectful format and respectful energy, then absolutely, dive in. It shouldn't be a bad bond and it shouldn't be a bad form for anybody. Favor, will Kenneth reach out to me? Let's take a look. Do you want them to reach out? Six of Fire is all about fights and conflicts and arguments and a little bit of bad juju. The reach out might come, Favor, but it might not be in a positive way. It might be a little bit more mean. It might be trying to make a point, prove a point, or show off to somebody else. So be careful with that when it does show up. Sophia, will they take actions towards reconciliation? No. The unfortunate case with this one is they feel that they are entitled to do what they want, how they want, where they want. It's their power to control. So I don't think they will take actions towards reconciliation, and something that should not be left does become exactly that: unsavory, uncomfortable, and inappropriate. It's unfortunate, but I do not believe that they're going to take actions towards reconciliation, but rather reinforcing that they're right, you're wrong, and that's just the way that it's supposed to be. I am so very sorry about that one. Raquel, what does the future hold with Eric? I feel like I gave you one today already, Raquel. Sneaking back in on the list. Sneaky, sneaky. Message me if you want to talk about it, but not easy things and not positive things. You guys tend to work like sandpaper on each other. And so you need to make sure that if you're okay being shaped through pain and suffering, then all means, have fun. But if you'd rather things be a little bit more fluid in their motion, you might want to find something that's more fluid. Karina wants to know what he's going to do with our relationship. Let's take a look-see. He wants to make it something more, but I think at times doubts his own abilities and own capacities, and may need a little bit of encouragement, or at least an understanding that they have something to offer. If they feel like there is nothing there to really give, there's going to be issues. So Karina, make sure they know what you respect, what you appreciate, and what you want. If you don't give them something to work with, they have nowhere to go. So you have to make sure that you're providing them an idea, so they can take that idea and display their passions around that idea. If you leave it entirely to their own devices, they will try their best, but you're going to get a better result if you take control and tell them specifically what you're looking for. Luisa, why am I having so many dreams of Carlos? Somebody wants to offer something. Somebody wants to connect, somebody wants to engage. And I don't know if it's you towards Carlos or Carlos towards you, but somewhere in there, there's a desire to really exchange energy and exchange emotion back and forth. This one's not bad, but it has to be done very slowly and very carefully. Cannot rush this dynamic of energy. And if they try to insist, be careful. The offer doesn't have to be romantic. Sometimes it's just about care, concern, or worry. And I feel like there's something on the material or physical health side that needs to be somewhat addressed. So be kind of prepared for that. See what kind of sneaks up that way. What else we got going on here? Okay. There's 100-something messages here. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Okay. I'm resetting this. Not the whole stream. I'm just going to go all the way to the very, very bottom. If you are still in the view, there's 13 of you, I believe, watching right now. Shoot me a message now. I'm going to reset. Leah, what's in the cards about my current love life with my boyfriend? Let's see. You guys are fighting and arguing, and it's not meant to be aggressive violence against one another. It's meant to be more trying to improve and refine one another. If you can get that format of understanding that you're not trying to hurt each other's energy and instead just trying to find a means of working better, then things could improve quite quickly for you, Leah. But both parties have to understand that this isn't meant to be violent. It isn't meant to be aggressive. It isn't meant to be destructive. It just has to be managed a little bit carefully in that way where possible and communicated a little bit better where possible. It's unfortunate because all that passion, it's probably a lot of pent up winter energy. And as you get into the spring, there's lots of opportunities to get out there and do things with it. But currently, the focus of energy isn't in the right direction. See what you can do about trying to get them off of being about criticizing you or vice versa, and instead being about two people against the problems. Zaya, does he want out of the relationship? Let's take a look. Maybe. There is a sense of feeling trapped, but is the trap the relationship or is the trap their capacity in life? They're feeling as though that there is supposed to be something more to the world, and until they discover that, they're going to probably struggle with actually feeling satisfied with their life, which is really, really unfortunate. I would say get down into a conversation about where you guys see yourselves in 5 to 10 years. If a lot of the goals that they're mentioning does involve family, shared assets, or shared duties, then yeah, they do want to be in the relationship. But if you notice it's moving more towards their profession, their sports, their hobbies, then yeah, that's your indicator right there that they see their destiny as being somewhere else and not necessarily with you. At that point, then you have a choice to either try and draw them back in through encouraging their beliefs or just accepting that maybe you two are growing a little bit apart, learned what you could, and now it's time to kind of step on to the next evolution. Naomi Irish. King of Fire, passion, energy, and transformation. But one of the big things with this one is the intensity and sometimes the combativeness. King of Fire can be the more aggressive of the King energies, more ready to get up and whip somebody's dumb little butt. You need to be a little bit more upfront, direct, and firm with what you're doing over the course of the spring. Otherwise, summertime, it's going to be you doing everybody else's plans and not doing your own plans. So the time is now, Naomi, to push towards what your goals, your dreams, and your objectives are, and not allow yourself to be overrun by other people's desires and energy forms. Judith, is he coming back? Let's take a look-see. This is a weird answer. Would you want him back? Knowing what you do now and understanding what you do now and seeing the picture for the full escape, would you want them back? They're very good at expressing a certain energy in a certain form, but is it really balanced? And does it balance well with you? If I'm reading it wrong and it is a good flow and it is a good dynamic, then all the powers to it. But I feel like this person doesn't see you fully for who you are and instead sees you from the angle of how they can dominate, work over, and work around you. They're more inclined to try and be in control than necessarily be in partnership. They're trying for a unity, but the unity is very divided to masculine, feminine, gender roles, or other constructs that are very much of an inconsequential matter. If they can treat you instead as an equal and respect that you deliver an energy opposite theirs, then I think things will work out just fine. But is that energy actually there from him? Be careful when they do show up. Tanya wants to know, will I marry Dax? Let's take a look. I'm going to go with yes on this one. 10 of Swords, moving through portals, moving through discovery, moving into the next evolution, but you guys need to discuss it. The idea of marriage might be nervous. It might be causing anxiety. It might be causing fear. It might be causing some doubts. And so you'll want to discuss and make sure they understand what exactly it is that you're looking for. I don't feel like you would gun for the 5,000 person wedding. You want something that's more personal and more sincere, but they might not know that yet. So have the conversation, share the information, then get through the portal into the next level, into the next stage. Don't wait for them to pick up on clues. Be direct with this, Tanya. Shoot straight and say exactly what you're looking for. Summer. Your card's coming up with the Nine of Cups, feeling like you've been lost in isolation. There's finally an opportunity to get out of it and into the greater world. The nice thing is it's emotional satisfaction, growth, and change, and a healing energy that's supposed to kind of come through with this one. Getting out of despair, getting out of panic, and getting into a happier state. I like to see this one come up when people have been working towards better mental health or emotional health. It's usually showing a sign of progression, growth, and development. But more than that, it's a liberation. A liberation out of old, bad, toxic, or negative mindsets and getting yourself into a whole new level of understanding of yourself as a greater being within the world. So good blessings, Summer, on that one. Good evolutions moving in the right direction. Lizette, is Danny coming back? Let's take a look. Do that. I'm going to go with no on this one. The reason why I say no is because of the sickle in the left hand. I think Danny got what he came for, and now he's carrying on in new direction. I'm not sure that Danny's going to come back around. I think Danny got what he was looking for and doesn't feel a need to come back again. Mpumi is teaching my calling. Mpumi. Depends what you're teaching. Like teaching an applied science, probably not. Teaching a creative art, possibly. And so recognizing the different layers of what teaching is, if you're teaching something that is empowering people, teaching creative expression, or expanding the idea of personal self, dive in on it. A voice coach, a drama teacher, an art teacher. These are elements that fall into that same category. And with it being the king, it's more about the tutelage and the direction of information and knowledge. So I do think teaching in general does work for you for sure. Make sure it's in the right avenues though. Hi, Mama Kay. I'm very, very sorry about your brother. I don't do mediumship, unfortunately, but I will draw a card for you. Two of Fire, showing a dynamic of exchange, communication, and passion between energies. This one can sometimes be a really good flow of you're helping somebody else burn hotter and they're helping you burn hotter, and it's just sort of this nice replication of energy back and forth. So there's a really good sign here of working with the right energies, the right forms, and just making sure that you're using that passion to expand yourself up to the next level. Good flow, good friends, good company, makes for an exciting summertime. Just make sure that you're not getting yourself into situations or moments that you don't really want to be involved with. That's, you got to know when you're getting too far over the edge and make sure that you're pulling yourself back appropriately. I like this one for increase. I like this one for finding partnerships, companionships, and making sure that you're not isolating yourself. Having somebody that can help you to see the world a little bit differently and maybe help to illuminate some of the things that you feel have gone awry. Raj, you can message me anytime. I usually book on Facebook under Lopik Magic House, or if you message me on TikTok, I'll eventually get you over onto WhatsApp or something else that we can do a video call on. Jane, may I have a card, please? Absolutely. Jane, you're coming up with the Eight of Stone. This one's very much about finding comfort, solace, and support in your own power, your own capacity, making sure that you maintain your energy close to your chest, though. Sometimes finding individuals coming along that are trying to take your power for their own self and needing to make sure that you're not allowing them to have dominance over top of you where possible. This sometimes means recognizing that you have to play dumb, play small, or play discreet. And through this playing the game, you can keep yourself safe from other people's toxicity and make sure that you're always engaging with a greater flow and greater whole. You have a gift, people recognize that gift, and sometimes they'll try and steal it from you. Don't let them steal it. Nurture the people that you want to nurture, and you don't have to waste your time nurturing anybody else. Good luck, Jane. Raj, will I get a job offer from the hospital this month? Harvest. I'm going to say yes. It's, again, that whole sickle element and the fact that they're walking away with the fruits. I think, yes, you will see that job offer come through and the harvest will occur, that you'll be able to start pulling some things in towards you. Willow, I just got your message about how many people in line, and there's 37 new messages down below, so we'll see what happens. Gifts and joining and follows also count as messages, so a lot of those might not actually be more requests, and we'll see what happens there. Grisella from Lucien Hopel. Let's take a look. Can you find them in other ways, Lucien? The idea with this one is that there's a catering and servicing to the natural world, and it's not necessarily what you want, but it's what you need. So I don't know if you're going to have that same person, but you may discover that you get a similar energy, and it brings about a result of awareness, familiarity, similarity, comfort. And there's nothing wrong with diving in on that energy and in that flow. Sometimes we need that little bit of a difference in order to see how much something is actually of value. And we can sometimes come up that it's not actually the person that brought the value, it's the energy form and what they created with you that's the value. And so that's kind of the game here. Can you work with that energy and can you work with that dynamic? 3-card draw. Yeah, I'll do that for you. Willow, looking for a 3-card. Why does Willow get a 3-card? Because honestly, this girl has put up with me for 21 years of my life. And I think I might owe you a thing or two. It's been 22 years now, actually. Now that I think about it, it's been a long damn time, Willow. We're getting old. 3 cards for Willow, please. There's going to be 1. There's a 2. And here's a 3. All right. What the fuck, woman? For a fire mage like you to not have any fire show up is a little bit disconcerting, but I'm not going to panic about it. You guys can do it. Just sneak in there. Yes. Okay, so here's what we got for you, Willow. Starting with the 8 of air, moving into the 10 arcana wisdom, and then 3 of earth on the end. As I mentioned, not a lot showing for fire. Theoretically, no water energy either. I tend to make wisdom a water dynamic just because wisdom connects with all things and water connects with all things. I worry with the 8 of air that you're still in situations where you end up cutting yourself for what you perceive to be greater benefit. You have always had that tendency to believe sacrifice to be a certain way towards the correct truth. And as a result of that, you have put through yourself many experiences and many things that otherwise would have destroyed an individual. It's great, but it's building up into a recognizing when negative effects are taking toll anymore. You're not recognizing when and when certain things are cutting you for no other reason besides that you're allowing them to do so. There is sort of a deep need to make sure that you're getting somewhat of a grip upon that, pulling it back in a little bit and avoiding allowing it to become major issues. Hence the wisdom showing up in the centerpiece here. You've got the access. Use it. You know the answers. Follow them. Your own experiences alone tell you everything that you need to know. And so you don't have to trust anybody's light but your own. You know what is right, you know what is wrong, and you know what is appropriate. And sometimes this does mean that we have to make great choices, but without any choice, there is no growth, there is only stagnation. There is a deep need to make sure that you're trusting your light and not letting other people's lights become the dominant force in your being. Because at the end of the day, it's time to get back to earth. It's time to get back to the natural. It's time to get back to the small, the discrete, and the specific. If you can draw yourself back towards where you feel most part of your natural form, the greatest progress in personal development occurs. You can't be going through more pain and torture and thinking that you're going to come out growing for it. If you keep pruning yourself, you'll never extend. And so now's the time to stop using knives, start using, well, food. in a weird sort of way. Things that nourish you, enhance you, grow you, things that make you feel fuller. And whether that be in a form of education, whether that be in a form of exercise or routine, or whether that be an upgrade and towards employment, the time is now in order to plant those seeds and start working towards that greater harvest. All of it sort of strikes back to don't torture yourself, don't punish yourself, and don't put yourself in the bad spot anymore. Don't let yourself be reduced down to that point. You need to make sure that you're keeping your defenses in your ground, but also not allowing yourself to hurt yourself or have anyone else hurt you with the concepts at hand. Everything should be measured back with the wisdom. Everything should be measured back with the common sense and awareness that you have and the understanding of your place within the greater universe. Through that respect to who you are, you advance to the next level and become then confident in sharing that even further. And so it's no longer an issue to kind of handle the things around you. Son's going for transformation. Meeting him at a whole new level allows you to be a better support for him. Sister's going through a little bit of chaos. You start to be able to provide support around it, not just words, but actual physical help. And more than anything, you yourself feel like there's decay. You arrest that decay, stop it, and prevent it from going so far that it takes you from yourself. Nice edge of despair would be my undertone on it, and just making sure that you're not giving yourself up to the panics that are at hand. You've got the answer within you. You simply have to trust yourself. Trust yourself and not hamstring yourself, not limit yourself, not diminish yourself. Make sure it's all in the full potential and full capacity for your evolution, Willow. Good things come through as a result if you do. I've watched you teeter a few times on the edge of diving back into the full madness versus maintaining the respectful distance. And there's the middle ground. There is a middle ground. I think we found a middle ground. And as long as you can get yourself to the point that you're applying it not for personal self, but for the consciousness that you represent through your physical self, great things come forward. I trust you on this one. You will do amazing things. Judith Nabol, one card. Let's get you back on the regular roll. Judith, I see an issue centering around masks and illusions, keeping things a little bit discreet, hidden, or away from the right connections around you. Everybody does work with masks. That's just the nature of the world that's at hand. But ultimately, we want to get away from trying to present to others what we think they want to see, and instead focus us out there for the genuine person underneath all of it. Take off any masks that you're using to obscure yourself. If you're associating with people that are always masked up, get rid of them. There's no point in wasting time with energies that aren't seeing your best possibility and are demanding that you instead change to meet theirs. Now is not the time to be hiding oneself. Now is the time to be honest and cleared visioned. Now is the time to basically open yourself up to the full potentials that exist, but you can only do so if you're genuine and clear. If others are changing you, get away from them. Katie asking, will Ryan and I get into a relationship soon? I don't think so. There's work on the self that needs to be done, either in him or in you. And so getting into a relationship you're trying to get to. So I would say right now, or at least for this next summer, focus more on your own personal self, development and growth. Don't try and jump too much into the other chaos and the other madness that's kind of going on at hand. Tricky flow, but as long as you're making sure that it's not attacking somebody for being who they are, but rather just working with the energy and working with the dynamics. Aretha, hey, you get a card, absolutely. Mama, I caught you earlier, and there's people that I haven't caught yet at all, so bear with me, and I will get back to you later on if we do get through this whole list, because at some point I'm going to have to kind of carry on. Aretha getting the Union card, finding yourself connecting with new places, new sites, and new energy forms. Through this new connection and through this new evolution, you start to see yourself advancing and growing into new ways. And the nice thing about it is it's not you having to compromise yourself, it's you connecting properly. If you ever plugged in a USB and had it just slide in the first time, that's what the Union energy is supposed to be like. Quick, direct, simple access. As with that, we can connect greater, larger, and even more elaborate ways. So you finding new bonds, new people, new souls to kind of work around with. Maybe it's in the form of new work, maybe it's in the form of new clubs, maybe it's in the form of new events. Either way, there's new people coming into your life soon. And you want to do what you can to make sure that you're engaging with them to the fullest form. Have a good summer, Aretha. Chad, let's get you a card. Chad, you're coming up with the Journey card, being kind of stuck in between two worlds right now and trying to figure out where the next stage is supposed to go. So the big undertone with it is that it's transference out of one stage and into another, going from one place to the next. When we get too hung up on being the same person day after day, sometimes we forget that we are an evolving person in ourselves. And so you are having to work with their flow and with their energy to evolve forward. You have to allow yourself to change. You cannot hold on to childhood things. You cannot hold on to teenage things. At some point, you will always have to evolve and move on to next flows and next evolutions. Allow yourself that transference, and good things will come through as a result. Called it. Gut instinct, yes. Like, I love Frankie to death, but she doesn't know how to save herself. She doesn't know how to save herself. Cynthia, is M deliberately ignoring me? Let's take a look. Maybe. There's a lot of emotions in this, and I don't think they can necessarily manage the emotions that they're feeling on it. And so, deliberately, sort of, they have to keep a barrier between you and them. Otherwise, they lose their judgment and they lose their best sense of self. Be careful. Typically, when people are holding back like this, it's because there's something too intense and they don't know what to do with it. If you can get them to communicate, that's great. But if they're already avoiding you and already avoiding that process, it's not going to evolve. It's not going to grow better, and it's not going to get better. So I am so sorry, Cynthia. Yes, there are feelings there, but they cannot express them in an honest way or in a safe way. And so they're avoiding it. They're avoiding it completely and honestly, so that, like, they're just being dumb, honestly. They need a friend that tells them to just come out and say what they're feeling. But if they don't have emotional knowledge, if they don't have emotional intellect, then they don't know what they're feeling. They just know that they're feeling something. And I think they're just so confused by what they're feeling that they can't get out of it. They can't get through it. Sorry, Cynthia. Give that one time. Give that one time and space. Shaniqua, was the frog I kissed actually a prince? Define prince. I think it was a person that demands a certain amount of stability and safety. They're developed slowly. They're not quite at their full potential, and currently are more of an egg form, an initiation form, not a long-term advanced form. So here's my question to you. Are you looking for someone that is established and set up, or are you looking for someone that you can grow with? If you want to grow with this person, they're perfect. If you want someone that's already established so you can just get up to their level, this is not the person that you're looking for. Where are we at here? Karamats. Riri, go for it. Yeah, I had to get everything reset because I got up to 100 again, and a lot of people repeat their questions 50 or 60 times because they don't trust that I'm going to get to it. The truth of the matter is, if you put a question or a request out there, I want to answer it. I want to answer it. If you put it once, that's great. If you put it 50 to 100 times, then I think I've got 100 people that are waiting, and so I'll reset it so that I can start fresh with the people that are still in here. So ask your questions once. I'll get to it. I would not put myself out there if I wasn't going to offer to everybody. And I know there's a lot of readers out there that pick and select who they want to target. I think that's disingenuous. So if you got a question, throw it out there. I will get to it eventually. I now have 50 new messages that I have to get through. And considering that each reading takes about 1 minute, that's about an hour that we're looking at here, my friends. So you gotta work with me, not against me. Karamat, will my boyfriend continue acting in a loving way towards me? New relationship, eh? You're super excited about it. You're feeling like it could be some long-term things happening here. I do think that they want to sustain that as well too. With the Ten of Cups, or Ten of Water, we're usually seeing that yes, they want to sustain, grow, and engage the energy as directly as they can. So, Karamat, I think you're doing a good thing right now. Riri, again, it's 50 messages to go. So shoots. Oh no, there it is. Aruj, will Umar come back into to me in the future? I just didn't scroll down far enough yet. Aruj. Maybe. They're currently having fun and doing their own things and juggling their own balls. So right now, no, they're not looking to come back, but somewhere down the road that energy may change and they may decide that they want to go a different direction around it. Right now, I don't get the vibe that they do want to come back in. Kylie, we went over this earlier. Did you miss it? It was earth energy, grounded, centered, balanced, earth sign. Please do. I miss Frankie. I liked Frankie. I always did like Frankie. Even if I got weird with it, I did like Frankie. I finally understand why I was so weird with it. So absolutely, send her my way. Lily, I went to a modeling casting open today. Do you see if they'll accept me or not? They're thinking about it. You actually express really well and you demonstrate really well. So I think you might get a second call. Whether they will go full acceptance depends on how you demonstrate on that second run. So good luck, Lily. There is good potential there, but you're going to have to go through a few more hoops in order to get it to the fullest form. Melanie, has Dennis thought about me? At least once. At least a few times. Let's see. Not a repeat of the last card. Come on. You come to the thoughts for sure. Yep. Andrea, will I get back with my ex? Why would you want to get back with your ex? You did it once already. What's the point of going back to what's already been done? Andrea, tell me about this ex. Don't do it. Like at the end of the day, you see it as something that you can connect with, communicate with, and work with, but at the end of the day, it's cutting you, it's hurting you, it's damaging you. Don't go chasing after those relationships that are damaging you. Katie with the cats. Again. All right, Joe, yeah, because you're asking about your daughter's relationship. You're asking about another person and a third person. It's not directly connected to you. Like there's got to be some ethics on this. We're not going to use this to investigate into other people's freedoms. There's been a few that I've skipped overall just because it's focusing too much on outside of your sphere and into others. And so you're right, I did skip it and I didn't get into the details on that, Joe. It is specifically because you're asking about another person and their relationship with a third person. You're not asking about what is your relationship with your daughter. And that's kind of the difference point there. If there is a greater concern, shoot me a message. We can talk about security and safety and things like that around it. But it's getting too detached to ask about the third party and their involvement with your daughter. Katie with the pretty little cat. I almost said something else. Yeah, I'm glad I stopped myself. Katie. Knowledge, understanding, but being restful and comfortable with the energy form as it's coming in. Making sure that you're looking at how different things that you have can apply and work into a larger picture so that you're not just fixating on a tool being in one spot, but rather being a tool in every spot. And when you do it that way, then you can get yourself to an advanced state moving forward because you now understand the expansive nature of knowledge and not just the simple nature of knowledge. Make sure you're applying all your information in all areas that it works. It can't just be focused into one narrow area. It's got to be focused into all areas. Hi, Getchu. Good to meet you too. Rosie, will I get what I'm dreaming of in 2024? I'm going to get to a point. I'm just going to start saying yeses and nos. Remember, if you repeat the question, right now I've got 90 new messages at a minute per reading. That is an hour and 30 minutes. If you are repeating your question repeatedly, it's slowing me down. It's not helping. I will answer every person that requests, but you have to work with me because 92 messages I now have to go through. Rosie, You got to match yourself and your energy towards it. You are trying and you are pushing and you're trying to develop towards it, absolutely. But it's not just in your dreams, it's in your actions as well too. If you apply your actions and if you apply your form, then you will get further ahead on it. The manifestation is not just dreaming of it, but it's literally putting every step towards accomplishing it. Let your evolution grow into that way and good things will come through as a result. Sadiri asking if they should quit their studies in masters. Gut instinct's telling me no. Yeah, don't. Advance to the highest level. You have a care for quality, you have a care for accuracy, and you have a care for concern. So Sidri, if you back down, we're going to lose somebody that would be a powerhouse within that field. I would not back down, follow through, and show your best and fullest self so that people can see the greatest potential that is possible within that field. You got to be the one that brings it up to the highest level, ultimately. Ketchua, sure, let's get you a question here. Is your marriage safe? No. She still has the desires, she still has the wants, she still has the yearning. There's something that you two don't match on, and you guys are gonna have to come down to the deep conversation of, do you adapt yourself to match her needs, or do you let her go so she can go chase her needs? You got some tough decisions and tough conversations coming up on that one. I am so sorry, my guy. But if you don't talk to her about it and give her the opportunity to be honest with herself in that evolution, it's not going to get ahead at all. It's just going to collapse further against you. Josie, will Bren reach out? No, he thinks he knows enough already. Judith, does he still want me? Sometimes, but he wants the you that he's got in his head. He doesn't want the you that you actually are. He believes that you're something more and focuses you entirely into that dynamic and ultimately becomes a mental trap. Can't put somebody up on a pedestal and then expect them to meet that standard if they're not actually that person. Jesse, will YG follow me back on Insta? Maybe. I think they're more likely to stealth scope you than actually follow you. But they are checking the Insta. Tim, yes, you may have a card. Tim, working on thoughts and ideas, working on the expression of the mind. See, the mind's a kind of a tricky thing. I put it into two fields. There's the internal mind, which is our own thought process and reflection process. And then there's the external mind, the stimuli coming from the world around us and affecting the interior from that flow. When you can look at your thoughts separately, both what you generate internally and what you receive from outside stimulus, that's when you're starting to master the idea of thought itself. Spend some time kind of reflecting on how your thought processes are moving, and through that reflection, you might get yourself to a level that you can see greater, better, and more empowering things. Waja, things are getting better between me and my boyfriend Shahab. Do you see us reconciling soon? Soonish, coming out of darkness, liberation, getting into better ways, better lights, and better forms. So yeah, it's going to be still a bit of a process. There's still some healing to be done in this dynamic. Make sure that you're being emotionally respectful of each other and working back and forth as much as possible. Paige, will A take the next step towards me? It'd be nice if they would. If you two are already in a throw of passion, then yes, they're going to try and engage it further. But if you guys aren't quite to that stage, I worry that there's a bit of a distraction effect going on where there is the energy towards you, but there's an energy towards somebody else. And so they're kind of muddling between their choice. Do they go with A or do they go with B? And it kind of sucks to be reduced down to that level, but that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. They're trying to figure out which one is going to be the better match for them, is my undertone gut instinct on it. Take your time, but don't wait for somebody for forever if possible. Jody, why did some friends of ours cut us off with no explanation? want you to think really, really carefully about the life philosophy and moral philosophy of you and these friends. Are they actually compatible? There's something in there where perspective is different, and one person believes that what the other is doing is unwise, unsafe, or unsavory. They don't want to see anything more of it, and so they're separating out so that they're not exposed to it. In their mind, they believe that they're doing a wise thing and defending themselves and protecting themselves. Hi, Queen K. Thanks for joining. Issue, I don't think I've done for you yet. I don't think I've done you yet, Issue. I might have missed you from before. I'm sorry. Let's get you in here now. What? Do you have a specific question? Go ahead and throw it in. I'm at 75, though. This is going to get tricky. So let's just do Issue. I don't think I've done you yet. Issue, yours is coming up with the death rebirth cycle, looking at your energy as going through transformation and metamorphosis. Every day we go through a little bit of a death. We lose a bit of ourselves and we gain a little bit of something else through knowledge, experience, and advancement. So I do believe that you're going to be seeing some heavy shifts coming up through the spring and the summer. It's going to challenge you to see yourself in new and different ways. Not comfortable, but imperative. If you don't do change, if you don't do growth, you never get ahead in life. So this is one of those cases where you have to be willing to embrace the change and embrace the transformation so that you can find a new state of yourself on the other side. Don't cling to old habits, don't cling to old behaviors, don't cling to old theories. You have to be willing to move yourself forward at all times. Otherwise, you never really advance properly. Vanessa, will Mike communicate and we reunite our relationship? You could. I think, just a gut instinct, I think you have to kind of throw out the first ball there, but there is a union and there is a connectivity. So I do think you guys can reconnect it, but I think it should be a mutual connection, not waiting on him to do the right thing. If you want something, you might have to reach out and make sure that you're engaging it directly yourself. Oh, you're that one. Where's your both boyfriend? Yeah, no, death and rebirth. Advance! And we've got that 4 questions. Kim, is work afraid to reach out? I'm down to 81 new messages. I'm trying to catch up, guys, I swear. Scared to be overwhelmed. Scared that desire is going to overtake their own personal judgment and not really inclined to try and work with it. Grace is Kai. Got interest. Was it romantic feeling specifically? It sure does say so. I don't know if I'd call this romantic. I think he's got an obsessive feeling towards you, and it's hurting his own balance of self. I don't dig that as a good relationship dynamic. I think one of you challenges the other to go through too much change and too much transformation. And I think as a result of that, there's going to be more harm than there's going to be good. But if you can manage the energy and manage the form, then it's not going to be a major issue. Just make sure that you recognize that you guys are putting each other into extreme flame and extreme desire. It's glitching out to the point now that we're getting back up to 100. I've got so many people that are repeating things and repeating questions, and it's getting to a point that it is almost unmanageable again. I am so sorry, guys. So let's do this again. If you put a request out, I will respond. If you put a request down, I will respond. But if you spam it, it's going to make it appear like there's 100 requests, and that is difficult for me to manage. So we have reset. The last 100 messages have been pushed up, and we're going to start fresh. Holy shit, there's 10 new messages right there. You know what? It's just not going to fly. It's just not going to fly. And Cynthia, I answered your question earlier. Cynthia. Therein lies the problem. It starts to get to a level that it's just too much, too fast, and we're not catching it. Yes, he's ignoring you because he cannot connect with you for his own safety. I know, that's the chaos. He can't connect with you for his own safety, Cynthia. He can't connect with you for the own safety. Allie, trust your gut instincts. There's something that you're missing on it, though. Alvin, board exam. Maybe not. There might be some things that they're really, really kind of concerned about. All Kari, parents, family, friend, romantic interest. Worrying, that phrasing makes me worry. Yes, desire. Anika, will H return my money? Not without a fight, not without reminders. Make sure you're reminding them that they owe you money. Danny, does Charlie want to speak to me? For what reason? Are they looking for you for advice, or are they looking for you for something more? Advice? Yes. Something more? No. Alexis, does Dominic still have sinister intentions for me? I don't know if it's Dominic. I think it's somebody else. Something that you're not seeing and something that you're not connecting with, Alexis. There's somebody else that's playing the game. Take a look and see who's trying to play masks around you so that you can work against them. Lauren, does Danny have good intentions to our relationship? I would say no. It's possessive, dominating, looking to pick fights just for the sake of picking fights and trying to make themselves the superior energy. Tasha, is Kevin romantically involved with third party? Define romance. Sometimes it's just sex, right? Sometimes it is actually feelings. In this particular case, I think it's just sex. I don't think it's actually feelings. Or maybe not sex, but attention, intimacy, communication, expression, something there that just isn't quite right. Abigail, are things really over between me and C? If he says it's done, it's done. Once the King of Earth has resolved himself to a path, he doesn't go back on it. So if he is done, he is done. If he is trying, then you just need to make sure that you guys are establishing good foundation that you can work with and not just running away on it again. Loretta, well, Aaron, back talking? No. Self, it's just you on your own way. Tash, I already answered your question. Will Zed and I marry soon? From Sammy Dean. Not soon enough for your comfort, so if you want it sooner, you're going to have to make sure that you're stepping in and actually pushing it a little bit further. Catherine, will I get my dissertation proposal done tomorrow? Not with that attitude. Stop letting people distract you. Stop letting people take you from you what you need to do. You need to focus on your work, and you cannot let other people take things over or away from you. Tessa, is A going to reach out to me? Please and thank you. Let's take a look. Tessa. Not directly, but there is going to be chance encounters, and there's going to be a situation that's going to challenge you both to look at each other a little bit more clearly. Again, if you repeat your question, I'm just going to skip it now. And if I think that I've read that question already, I'm going to skip it. And since everybody asked the same question, there's going to be a lot of skips. I'm back to 16. I'm trying to keep ahead as best as I can. Will Jason reconcile with his ex-wife? Question from Tammy Liqueur. I don't think so. I think they're looking more at, they're friends. They got good friendships and they've got good flows. But when it comes down to it, they make a really shitty partnership. So I don't think it's about reconciling. I think it's about just trying to rediscover their friend. What do you mean, does Charlie want to build the relationship? Like, what is... message me. At this point, if you want clarifying, message me. Again, if you're repeating your messages, I'm not going to answer. Because it comes a point where I need to be catching up on the new people coming in and not just repeating the old messages. We are getting close to the end here as well too. So if you feel like your message was not received, by all means, message me and I will follow up with it after. Because it's getting to a point that it's really, really hard to make sure everybody's getting their right attention. Claudia, will Adnan move in with me this month? I think so. I think so. There's a sense here of finding sort of a balance between masculine and feminine and working it in so that you guys have that unity form. So I do think that there's going to be a harmonizing of two energies together that way. Shayna, will Akhil meet me and clarify today? They'll try. They'll try. It's going to be words that you don't want to hear, though. It's going to be a lot of truth, and you have to make sure that it's sticking with that truth. Good luck. Did I do this page? I can't remember. Is Ryan coming back with true intentions for page? True-ish. They're trying to find a better way. They're trying to find a better understanding. So it is well-meaning intention. It just may not be the best. Going down, going down, going down. Steph, will I meet someone tonight? Well, we just met. Does that count? You got to put yourself out there a little bit more. Sometimes people see you, but they don't know how to approach. So if there's a way that you can approach others instead, that will probably be the better way to work with it. Don't be shy. Be open. And try where you can to put yourself out there in places that you're going to be the most safe. Sam, will he find out? Yes. Eventually it will be revealed. Paranormal Tribe. Hi there, Paranormal. Kaylee, will I see Andrew C tomorrow? Yes. I'm going to go with yes. This one tells me it's most likely yes. Umbro, that's a long conversation, really, really hard one to get into. What I'll tell you right now is some people just have their own personal desires. They have their own wants, they have their own craving, and they're just never going to respond to anybody else's. And I am so sorry about that. Sierra is asking, will my Granda be okay? Let's take a look. Granda. There's a sense of release that comes with the Queen of Cups. And so okay's tricky. Are they going to be the same person they were before the situation? No, but they will try and find their way through it. And that might make for some awkward moments coming up. Tanya, will my husband Billy and I reconcile soon? Potentially. You guys got to figure out where you guys actually make each other happy. There's a lot of give, there's a lot of take, but there's sort of a missing element of give, Tanya. And if you guys can figure out where you can kind of give in more to each other, that's going to make for a healthier relationship and a healthier energy overall. Karen Jacob asking, will Kay and I reconcile? Not if somebody keeps playing secrets, not if someone keeps playing liar, not if someone keeps playing bullshit. As long as they are playing bullshit, then there's never going to be an improvement. That's just the way that it is. Zelly, will it work out with Y this time? Look deeper into what you guys are doing. You guys, you've got the right intention, but are you actually the right people? And forget the twin flame crap. There is no twin flames. So what is it really that draws you two together? Zelly, is it really about each other, or is it about what you perceive could be there if each other would just change just a little bit? Umberu, ultimately, you'll have to teach them that they have to be about their own personal choices. That sometimes people fall apart, that sometimes people drift apart. It's a life lesson. Not everything holds together forever. I imagine sharing the time is not going to be as easy either. I would fight and try to make the child, not make the sun come with you, but earn the sun along with you. Anna, will Danielle and I start to live together this month? Do you want anybody else in your space? Do you actually want somebody living with you? If not, don't do it. Because if they come in there and it becomes the Battle of Queens, that's going to be all kinds of nonsense. Be careful with that. Daniela, will James contact me again? If it's James with a mohawk and interesting piercing placements, run. Journey and travels. Yes, you will probably see them come across your road at some point down the way, but remember, people are travelers and wanderers for a reason. Why is it that they are not settling down and making a strong connect? Sophie, will me and Mitchell ever get back together? Same deal as sort of this last one, journey and transformation and growth. Both of you are too underdeveloped to come back to each other right now. You guys haven't changed enough to actually try this in a different way. And so currently, no, you guys need to do that development and that growth first. And I got your question here again. Remember, do you want to live with somebody? Queen of Fire. Do you really want to live with somebody? Does my boyfriend Cyric serious about our relationship? Let's take a look. Free love. Yes, they are serious. They just don't know how exactly to measure up to the situation that's being placed in front of them. Renetta, Ren, should I move on from my baby daddy? Gut tells me yes. Moving on is a tricky question. You can't completely abandon the guy. There has to be some amount of involvement and connection, but it's about feeding the squirrel what the squirrel needs. Not giving the squirrel what the squirrel wants, feeding the squirrel what the squirrel needs. You should not be giving up everything to this person. They are allowed access to the family, but they're not allowed access automatically to you. Daniil, does Donald really want to be with me? Maybe yes, maybe no. I think they see you as a safe place and a secure bet. And so with it being easier and not so much of a challenge, then yes, they're kind of working with it. We're getting up to 23 messages. Let's see if I can run this a little bit. Arusha, is Deepak thinking of me? Let's say yes. I have a question. Will I get the job? Jana. You have the skill set, you have the ability. You just got to be able to sell yourself a little bit better and it'll work out just fine for you. Audrey, does Raz want me? He wants something. He feels you too much of a challenge sometimes, though, and it gets a little bit difficult to meet you on your level. Make sure you're trying to communicate expressively and not trying to just be, well, let's be honest. Resting bitch face is a beautiful and powerful thing, but sometimes you got to break the facade in order to let somebody in. Arusha, is Deepak thinking of me today? No. Christy, will me and Darren get back together, please? At some point, but again, going through the healing and discovery of yourselves first as individuals so that you can come back together and not be dependent upon one another for well-being. Sometimes people get into relationships just because they want to be saved by the relationship, and that cannot be the way that this goes. We're up to 28 messages. I'm going to keep trying. Remember, do not send double questions because then I can't get to everybody else. Will I ever get over my ex, Chris? No, yes, but you also got to realize that Chris does not define every relationship that you ever have. You need to let yourself see Chris as just part of the journey and not the final product. Okay, and if that's the case, then wonderful, but remember you guys both have big passions and big energies, so good luck with that. You guys got some pretty wild vibrations. Arusha, Deepak, yes, they're thinking of you today. I'm just going to start saying that. Thinking of me? Yes, probably, at least once. Like, honestly, guys, do you think people just don't think of one another? Most of you will drift in and out of people's minds 100,000 times. Gotta work with it. Norway Girly, thank you very much for the gifts. Really, really appreciate it. Farah, am I seeing Peter this month? Yeah, we'll go with yes on that one. Unburo, should I leave this job and accept the other offer? Yeah, do it. Daniil, does Donald really want to be with me? I thought we answered this one. Will Chris come see me soon? Did I answer this one? Maybe. Maiden, fresh, wanting to come make that connection, so it's definitely a possibility. Sonam, does Arj have feelings for me? A little bit, but the feelings are a little bit more in a therapist kind of viewpoint. Is it romantic or is it friendship? That's what you might want to figure out at the deeper level of it. Jet ski this summer for Allison Bruley. Let's take a look. But you've got other priorities. There are other priorities that need to be taken care of first. Don't jump on the jet ski until the other priorities are taken care of first. Don't worry, girly. I try to be amazing. It's a little bit of an organized chaos, but I try. Will Darwin reach out to Gypsy Beniz? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. They might not reach out for the thing that you're looking for, and you need to be prepared to deal with them at a different level than what you're expecting. Don't brace yourself for one thing, expecting it to be exactly that. It's going to be something else. April, will Julian VG unblock me and contact me? Maybe, but I wouldn't trust it. Sometimes they're doing it just for their own sanctity and their own good. And so if they reach out to you, I feel like it's not going to be a happy reach out. It's going to be more about something else entirely. So be careful. Be careful on that one. Farah already answered. Allison already answered. Anonymity, will my marriage with my husband work? Let's take a look. No, the change isn't happening. They're not growing and they're not advancing fast enough. Hi, Naomi, you're back. Carla, a little bit of well, one of you idolizes the other. I'm not sure if it's you idolizing them or them idolizing you, but it's not so good. Was it a yes, no question? Let's see what we got this time, Kirsty. Queen of Air is usually like a what's the matter with you, cut into the truth of a matter. So I usually go with a yes or an honesty or as a direct. Diane, do I have Dino's heart? You've got a part of it. You've got a part of it, but at the end of the day, he's not sure where his heart's going. He's not sure what his heart feels. There might be some changes and some evolutions coming up that way. Danique, will Kay and I soon kiss? Just want to confirm that. There's something else coming for you and Kay. Danique, there's something else that's evolving, a transformation and metamorphosis. If you guys have never done this before, then maybe, yes, it is a kiss, but I think there's some other things that are kind of going on with you as well. Remember, if you repeat your question too many times, it's going to make it hard for other people to get their question in. I've kept it down to 20, but I still got to keep moving fast to make that happen. So work with me, not against me, guys. Shepherd, does my ex-wife still love me? Yes. Melody, will I hear from Jerry again? Eventually, but long-term kind of waiting. I've got those ones. Melissa Johnston, does my boyfriend truly love me? That's a complicated question. Define love. Define love. What is love? What is love truly? What is it at the base core of it? He loves something, and you have the something that he loves, but that doesn't mean it's exclusive to you. Miriam, can you tell me the initial or something about the person that loves me? I'm doing card readings. I'm not doing anything letter-wise. Danique, we've already answered this question. Diane, we've already answered this question. Danique, we've already answered this question. Denise, will Jesse make us a couple by the end of this month? Let's take a look. Maybe. You got to push on a little bit on the construct of what you guys respect and believe in one another. There's a communication factor that needs to be reached to, and if you guys don't reach that communication factor, it's not going to grow and it's not going to advance. Push it towards what you want and see what comes out of it. Danique, death and transformation. Have you guys ever kissed before? No? Then yes, maybe. But it's death and transformation was the card that you got. Diane, do you have Dino's heart? I believe we answered this. Melody, will I hear from Jerry again? Eventually, communication will come through. Yeah, one of Ace of Swords or Ace of Air is always communication and messages being received. You will probably hear from Jerry again. On Burrow, I love that you keep changing the question just slightly. I love the cares and concerns. You need to get into the mind of your son and teach him the right ways. This isn't about a back and forth, he versus she. You guys are fucking just mortals living a mortal experience. You're all going to die eventually. So don't focus your son on the idea of loss. Focus your son on the idea of self-expression. That's all your wife is trying to do, is self-express. You can't be a hero for somebody that doesn't want to be saved. She has to save herself. Teach your son simply how to be a good person with no concern for his own mortality and recognizing that he will eventually die and he will come through just fine. But if you focus him in on desires, it's never going to go well. Jill, is money coming my way soon? Unfortunately, it's cups. It's cups, not stones. And so I would say it's not money, but it is things that are important and valuable, just more intrinsic. Jesse, girlfriend, by the end of the month. Denise, let's take a look. Maybe. Good maybe. There should be an offering of some type. Just make sure that it does have the right intentions and it does have the right flow. Miriam, does he love me? He loves something about you. It may not be necessarily about the romance. It may be about the resources. It may be about the assets. It may be about what he can gain and accomplish out of it. Then Christopher and I meant to be together. Maybe. You guys definitely have a spiritual bond, but spiritual does not mean destiny. There is no twin flames. There are no twin flames. There's no one person that you're destined to be with. Spiritual connection, yes. Destined, no. Ellie, is John coming forward to reconcile with me? No, they're coming forward to try and pick a fight with you. They're feeling like they have to be a certain way and a certain demand. And I just don't get a sense that it's necessarily about reconciliation. I think it's about establishing what they feel is right and true. T, will I get a financial breakthrough in June? Unfortunately, it's air, not stone, not pentacles, so not money, but there is an opportunity for advancement in training, development, that may help you get onto a better state and better flow as a result after the fact. Lizzie, will Larry and Christian get married? Who's Larry and Christian? I don't like reading other people outside of the people that we're reading. And so if we're talking about children, I get it, but I denied Joe, I'd have to deny you too. It's not really fair to ask about two people that aren't here. That's creepy even. And I get sometimes we value our children, we want to know how they're doing, but get your child in here to ask me then. If you ask on somebody else's behalf, that's not their energy I'm reading, it's yours. You got to be specific. Mimi, does Leighton have romantic feelings for me? I don't know about romantic. I think it's more something else that's being expressed. There's something innocent or something true or something that feels genuine in the nature. So something there, just not necessarily romance, but definitely some kind of bond. Will Chris and I reconnect for good? From Linny B. Golf. Let's take a look. Do you want to reconnect? Do you want to be lit on fire again? Do you want to go through that suffering again? Think very carefully. Is it really worth your time to go through that dynamic? Shepard, does Audrey love Nicholas more than me? That is so on the line. That is so on the line. What is it to be in love, guys? What is the purpose of love? If you are in love, you want someone to be satisfied, happy, and growing. They do want you to be satisfied, happy, and growing, and they would like that for Nicholas too. But where do they place themselves in this scheme of things? Well, wherever they can be happy and growth as well. Don't make it a competition and a battle back and forth. Instead, look at it as a matter of they need to discover what they actually want in their long-term life, and that's all it comes down to. Who do they want to be right before they die? Will they get there better with you, Shepard, or will they get there better with Nicholas? Betty Joe, will me and my husband going to get back together again? Miriam, yes. Absolutely yes. If you want to communicate with the dead, all you got to do is pray, meditate, speak it out loud. They are in every element around you, Miriam, and they are always there for you, I promise. Betty Joe, husband, back together. Union card. We've been calling that as a yes. So probably yes, getting back in with it. Mimi, is James over me? Take a quick look. See, starting to get some messages for work and other bits as well. So I might have to call this a quit fairly soon. No, the perception is changing. The perception is evolving, Mimi. And I think they're trying to move on to new understandings and new potentials. Emma. He's interested in something about you. He just doesn't know what it is yet. Okay, those of you that are in here, you are my last run. Let's get you last few, and then we'll call it a day. Katya, will I be in a relationship with Zan? Let's take a look. Eventually, but you got to work through this one in a slow, careful process. You can't just be forcing the relationship. You got to develop the friendship and the connection with him first. Caitlin, will Hector G want to be in a relationship with me in the future? Maybe. There's somebody else that wants his attention. There's somebody else that's competing with you without you even realizing it. So be careful. Be careful. Brian, does Atlas love and care for me? Yes, but they don't know how to express it to the fullest form, and they keep their energy very close to their chest so that they're not feeling like they're being taken advantage of. There might be an issue of past abuses in that one, so make sure that you're careful. Don't push them. Don't abuse them. Joe, does Valentina want me as her life partner? Maybe. With the King of Water, yes, it's usually devoted and committed, and you just got to make sure that you're meeting up to their emotional intelligence and emotional capacity. Eve, does Kay want to reconcile? Don't do K. K is for horses. Sorry, bad joke. That's how I know it's almost time to stop. They would prefer to reconcile. They would prefer to make peace. Doesn't necessarily mean that they want it back, but they would rather make peace. No worries, guys. Romeo, am I currently pregnant? Maybe. I'm getting a little bit of a headache trying to zone in on you, so maybe. I think there's going to be a bit of a cycle process coming and going on. And Onaburo, let's finish off with you. Another kid. I would not rush into it. You need to do some care and some therapy and some balancing for yourself, Wanaburo. So focus on that first instead. Get yourself feeling back into a good state and back into a good form, and good things will come through as a result. Focus on you, my friend. Focus on you. Cool. I love you all. If I did not get through to you, then please, please, please shoot me a message and I'll take care of it when I get my other stuff kind of taken care of here. My neck hurts, my head hurts, my everything hurts, but this is always fun for me to do. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming on out and joining us here today. It is always a treat to be of service, and every Thursday I will make sure that I am coming in and doing this. I do truly believe that spiritual service should be offered openly, and so on these Tarot Thursdays, I am more than happy to offer a free card and free reading to help you guys out in any way, shape, and form. If you ever want to book a reading with me, just got to shoot me a message and we can get that process started. Private bookings do, of course, cost a little bit. You are all fantastic, and I am sorry that I got a little bit short-tempered towards the end there. I don't want to miss anybody, and that's always been my biggest thing. If I put an offer out there and then I select who I'm going to read, that feels so disingenuous to me. That feels like a violation. That feels almost abusive of spiritual nature. And so if you do ever want to connect, by all means do so, and I will do everything I can to make sure that you don't get missed. If I do miss you, I am stuck in a fleshy human body, and so I will make mistakes. If I miss you, contact me, and I will make sure that you get something on that same day. For now, I'm going to go finish off my laundry, maybe get a bite to eat, and call it a day. You are also wonderful to join me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your help. And I hope wherever you go, wherever you are, go safe, go blessed, and goodbye for now.